What is going on, everybody? It is episode 328 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy Tuesday. And today we have got two guests in the studio. We got the regular, Hannah Claire.
Hi, I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm a writer for timcast.com.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
And we've got a special guest,
Is
Carter.
it special, though? Because I was here last week. It's almost like I'm becoming a regular.
Are you trying to encroach on my regular
I don't know.
Tuesdays?
You keep inviting me,
see
so I
what
keep coming
happens.
back. I'm Carter. It's great to be back.
How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, you know?
How's the music going?
Music is going. We got a song coming out in, what is it, Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's coming out Thursday night at 12:01, so it'll be Friday. So if you're up with me at 12:01, when I press the button, it's going live.
So it's technically Friday.
Yeah, technically.
Okay.
That's like when people talk about, like, when does the week start? Does it start on Sunday or Monday?
Monday.
Monday? Yeah.
Definitely.
Some people say Sunday through Saturday.
Well, that's how the calendar.
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
calendar looks
Not
like.
my calendar.
It's all a mess, guys. We got a bunch of stuff. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Halle Bailey, the star of the new Little Mermaid movie, has had some choice words about the lack of feminism in the original. You know, that's a problem. They don't believe that anything other than a feminist could be any type of nuanced character. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the tragic continuation of the Amanda Bynes story. She was released from her conservatorship with her parents' blessing last year. And she has had a couple of incidents since then and just recently skipped 90s Con, in which she went and basically streaked and walked naked. Thank you.
Thank you.
Walked naked through the streets of LA. So we're going to talk about that. She's on a psych hold right now. We're also going to talk about the movie Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey has been suspiciously banned in Hong Kong. I have no idea why. I don't think anyone could say why that may be, but we're going to speculate. We're going to ruminate on the concept of why a movie starring the character Winnie the Pooh wouldn't get a release in China. So we're going to discuss that. And also Ted Lasso, not the real Ted Lasso, because Ted Lasso is not a real person. Jason Sudeikis and the cast of Ted Lasso went to the White House to talk about mental health. And
Jason Sudeikis talked about mental health. The rest of the cast kind of just stood there and smiled and nodded.
Yeah, but it's a great gig if you can get it.
It really is,
It
yeah.
is. They all sat there and looked. They kind of alternated between trying to look like professional and regal and
so
relatable. It's really bad. It's really cringy. But we're also going to talk about the reporter who had stuff to say about the lack of freedom of speech being pushed by the White House. So it's not political, because the Ted Lasso part is the part that really bothers me, because they're all just lame-os.
It's like literally what is the connection between Ted Lasso and the mental health crisis?
Well,
and suicide
any
rates
celebrity.
going up?
Who the hell looks for a celebrity for any type of mental health advice? Not I say.
Certainly not
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis.
So if you guys are ready, we will get into the couple of things I got before we get started. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hannah Claire.
I'm ready.
Carter.
Ready.
All right. So before we get started, I first want to mention this quick bit about Lance Reddick. At the John Wick 4 premiere, the cast did honor him and they wore blue ribbons. I just think it's important to mention this, that this happened right before, the passing of Lance Reddick happened right before the premiere of John Wick 4, and it's just, it's very sad to see, but it's good to see that the cast members wanted to pay homage to him. I do think that that's important. It's, I did watch several Lance Reddick featured productions over the weekend in kind of, in honor of his passing. He's a fantastic actor, so it's just worth mentioning, and I do hope that his family is getting through this all right. They said it was natural causes, but he was only 60, but they didn't say what it was.
Could have been like an aneurysm.
Yeah, he could have been sick or something. I don't know, but
I'm really glad we've gotten past that point where if a celebrity died suddenly, then everyone on Twitter would just be like, I wonder what safe and effective treatment this could have been caused by.
He's not young enough to really fall into that speculation category. I felt like it was people in their teens, 20s, and 30s. He's old enough where it's young for an average population.
But still, like, someone could die of cancer and everyone would be tweeting like, safe and effective, huh? Like,
all right. So I also wanted to mention this. This just came before the start of the show. The Weeknd sets the Guinness World Record as the world's most popular artist.
Bad Bunny is so mad right now.
Bad Bunny is pissed right now.
Wait, who is next on the list?
So it says he recently joined Michael Jackson as the only artist with multiple #1 songs from 3 separate albums, and then they talk about So
that's crazy because he's such a Michael Jackson skinwalker.
I know.
What's the measurement here? Like, he's popular because he's the most #1 song.
Their records on Spotify. So it says one for the most monthly listeners in Spotify history by breaching the 111 million mark, and another for being the first artist to breach the 100 million monthly listeners mark in general.
Well, that's not really fair.
How how did Guinness measure this pre-Spotify?
Right.
Exactly. I have no idea.
Carter, how long has Spotify been around?
Notably for like a decade, maybe.
Yeah.
So how did we measure the most popular artist
In the prime of
like
Michael
physical
Jackson?
sales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did Michael Jackson win the title?
Yeah, would it have been album sales?
And that's more
specifically?
impressive than
Way
someone just
more.
clicking a button to
Yep.
stream your song after they heard it on TikTok, you know?
It's also hard because doesn't Spotify like select stuff and promote it?
Yeah.
So for a while they
True.
could have been funneling people towards the weekend, inflating the numbers.
Right.
I wish it was like how many you measure it based on like how many people call in to request one of your songs on the radio. Like that's dedication. We have to call the radio station and say, please play this song.
I don't like to compare the two. I feel like it's equally deserved now, you know, with more people on the internet. It's also harder to make it as a musician. Less people were there around with Michael Jackson, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Equally deserved.
Yep. All right, and I got one more thing. I want to talk a little bit more. I'm going to drive right by this one very quickly about Marvel's removal of Victoria Alonso from being second in charge at Marvel Studios. I don't think it can actually be understated how important it is for something like this, given we talk a lot about post-profit era. We talk a lot about how it seems like there's never any consequences whenever things fail with Marvel. Does that make sense? Like we talk about how every time they make a movie and something comes out, nothing really matters because the directors who make movies that nobody buys end up doing bigger projects that nobody cares about. But Victoria Alonso's been there since 2006 in charge of visual effects, worked her way up to number 2 and was a producer on all of the early Marvel movies. We're talking from the beginning, from Iron Man days all the way up through the Avengers. But she's also known as being one of the hardest ones to work with because she was in charge of visual effects. And as we know, Marvel has been a disaster zone as far as working with visual effects houses and studios. So what do? You are hard to work with. You are making movies that people are having a hard time connecting with now. And she also, I do want to point out, she is the one who said that the term X-Men is outdated and we need to...
Because it has the word men.
Because it has the term
obviously.
men in it.
So wait, so why is she getting...
I mean, there wasn't an official reason given for her departure, but Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania just bombed at the box office. It made $463 million on a budget of $200 million plus $100 million
I assume
in
that's
marketing.
a man's fault, though. You know,
Yes.
she's a lady. She
Wait.
probably couldn't have
Yes.
done wrong.
Okay, so is her departure being framed as like her resignation or a forced resignation?
They're not saying either. I've seen some people saying that it was her fault, and then other people saying that she's just she has to fall on the sword because there's no way Kevin Feige's taking the blame for it.
I see. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's better that she leave.
Yeah.
Anyway, she seems insane.
Well, why do you say that?
I mean, she just seems like one of those people behind Marvel that is like making all of their content way more like woke.
She
and
was a very
politicized.
big proponent of diversity, equity, and inclusion. A very big part of that because she herself is gay.
And it's
So that
not
was
just
big
a
part of it.
Borg, you know, like it's run by people with names and opinions.
There was this thing from Discussing Film that says Victoria Alonso was reportedly singularly responsible for the toxic work environment for the visual effects department. And they at one point were considering making Marvel its own in-house visual effects team, which is impossible. If you ever look at a Marvel movie and you look at just how many names are on those visual effects sheets with how many people work on those movies, they would have to hire hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people to work in-house, which they would never do.
They contract like 8 different studios to do it, right?
They would never do that. It always has to be contract.
By toxic, do they mean like what we've heard about before where these VFX artists get overworked and like they get crunch time and all of this other stuff?
That, and then a big one that they would always complain about was like they'd want like 4 different versions of the visual effects to a scene. And then to give them 4 different visual effects looks to choose from. And then even with those 4 would ask for more at the last minute.
So that's kind of like worse than what James Cameron is asking for.
Yeah,
he just wants one version of all of it.
It makes me think more of like video game crunch time when they're in the lead up to like a AAA title release and stuff like that. And you know, in the world of corporate politics, the head guy's never going to take the fall for something like this. The number 2 is always going to take the fall for something like this. But it also means that they've put The Disney Plus shows on hold. Loki season 2 has been pushed back. All Marvel properties that are Disney Plus related have been put on indefinite hold, and that screams of disorganization. That seems a lot more like DC than it does Marvel. Marvel, for all its faults, usually seems to have way more of a plan.
Can I just take
DC
this
does.
as like the end of this insanity where we add 27 films to the same universe?
Wouldn't
like,
that be nice?
Maybe it's disorganization, but also maybe it's a lack of enthusiasm.
I don't think it's fatigue. I think the movies are just bad. I think
It's
that
both.
I don't think
I mean,
it's fatigue.
I think there wouldn't be fatigue if the movies were good.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
So the movies
it's
are
not
bad.
it's not superhero fatigue. It's bad superhero movie fatigue.
Literally
Yeah.
all superhero movies today are bad. I'll say it.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, they're
Every
all the
superhero
same.
movie I saw last year didn't like it.
I liked Samaritan, and that wasn't even a good. That was just a fun movie.
Nobody watched
Is it a superhero
Samaritan.
movie?
I liked Black Adam too.
it's
I
a
like
Nobody-
superhero movie, the movie.
Black Adam was
that a
not
movie?
good.
And I didn't like the
joke
Batman.
movie.
I was like the one person who didn't like the Batman. So a lot of people like the Batman. I didn't, but
Yeah,
most
because
people
it's the
did.
furthest
Batman.
away you can get from one of the multiverse type of movies. Like it's the furthest you can get from a traditional superhero.
Yeah, but I
movie.
want that. Like
That's why it was more successful.
So you're saying the thing that doesn't follow the model was the
No.
best of the options.
at least
most well-liked,
the most
yeah.
well-liked.
So the
yeah.
thing that didn't seem like
Yeah.
the rest of the products that they put out was popular. I feel like that's an indication that
really
it's
makes
time.
you think.
I feel like
the
that's an
first three
indication.
Spider-Men.
The first three, what happened after that?
I don't know.
So I also don't know if this will put a wrench in the plan for representation. I think that that's too baked into the corporate business model for Disney to have that affect them. I don't think one executive leaving just because they were a champion of diversity programs is going to make it less. Like some people are saying, like maybe now they'll focus less on identity politics. I don't think that's possible.
No,
at this
they'll
point.
just double down. They'll find someone
Yeah.
who's even more
Yes.
diverse. I'm
And-
writing this long profile of this woman who is a feminist but is accused of being an anti-feminist, and she's a college professor. And at one point, you know, she said something students didn't like. Students were like, "We got to get rid of her and replace her with someone, a queer person of color, because she's a white lesbian."
Yes.
And so they're like, "Not enough." And she says the wrong thing, so she's out. Like, I feel like this is the kind of thing that Disney will do. They'll just double down on all of these hires. The sad thing is, if this person was actually good at her job, then I think they would have fought to keep her.
Yeah.
So something is wrong there.
17 years at one company. Like 17 years at one company, one flop doesn't seem like that's enough to.
That makes me wonder if it's her choice. Like,
Yeah.
I would like to know where she's going next.
She will, and she will
DC.
likely.
She's going to
She
DC.
could. I mean, that's not an unreasonable thing to think. James Gunn went there and took an executive position at DC. He wasn't even a DC executive. He wasn't even a Marvel executive. He was a Marvel creative. So that's actually not an unreasonable to think of. Or she could end up going and working for Hasbro or for any of these other companies that are also producing superhero or comic book content outside of Marvel and DC. Like Transformers has got a new movie's coming out soon right now
Or
too.
what if she just leaves it all behind and runs for office?
She could do
Maybe
that.
that's what she's doing. Like, we think she's
That was what
leaving
Bob Iger wanted
because
to do.
they've lost money on her projects, and she's like, no, this is the
She's like, I can
leaping
help
off
this
point for me."
country lose money. She's like, this country loses money all the time. Anyways, I'm perfect for this
I know
job.
a lot about American politics.
Yeah.
I worked on Ant-Man.
That reminds me, one guest that we need on this show is Steve Bannon, because he used to actually be a
man.
film financier.
Yeah, that'd
and he
be
knows a
super
lot about
interesting.
Hollywood.
So did what's his name? Rogan O'Hanley.
Yeah, he was
he was a film. He worked in Hollywood.
Well, he was a music attorney. Like, he worked in like legal rights for that, which I think would be good, because how often do I go like, we need to ask a lawyer this
I know,
question?
right? Like, there's
like
so
someone
many
who does
things.
entertainment contract law
day.
like Rogan would be great.
I would love. You know who I'd love to have on here. I would like to have on here a realtor who sells to famous people, because we keep seeing the stuff about how Jennifer Lopez keeps backing out of these houses they're going to buy. And
Nothing's good enough.
Nothing's good enough for Jennifer Lopez. And I would love to talk to like a Hollywood realtor to get their take on like just how annoying Hollywood celebrities are when they're trying to buy a house.
Something tells us Ben Affleck is not the problem.
Oh,
here.
he's not. We all know that. Everyone here knows, everyone in the chat knows that Ben Affleck is fantastic and can do no wrong. Dane.
Okay, I don't know if I went that far.
Dane is just the wrong one.
I don't know if I
here.
went that far. I just think that no mansion can be grand enough for Miss Lowe.
Yeah. Well, you know, she's got to have a different room for each of her past wedding rings. And, you know, when you've got 6, you gotta...
one room for her Peloton. And
Oh, yeah. She's got like she's got to have a wing of the house for the Peloton. A Peloton wing for the.
yeah,
for
and then
the
they need a
home.
food
Peloton.
court.
Yeah.
All of that.
Another thing that happened that could be regarding this was because she was there when Bob Chapek was there before Bob Iger took back over, and she was fighting back with Disney against Florida in the Don't Say Gay bill, which had disastrous consequences for Disney, given the removal of Reedy Creek from control of Disney by Ron DeSantis. So it's possible that she, on multiple fronts, cost Disney opportunities and caused problems, and maybe 2-3 strikes you're out. When there are big mistakes like that, that gets you pushed out. But she'd been with Marvel, they said, from the time when they were in they were operating above a Mercedes dealership or a Lexus dealership. The company was so small back then. And she was a producer on movies that go all the way back to 2008.
Ask her to come on the show, explain what's going on. She's got nothing to do. She's not working anymore.
We need the inside story.
Something tells me she would say no. I don't know why that is, but I get the feeling she wouldn't want to.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's
Wayne
so
Alec
true.
Baldwin
Michael
told me
Scott.
that. Alec Baldwin told me that.
So I'm just saying, this is your opportunity.
All right, guys, before we get started today, I would like to ask you guys, please, could you like this video? Could you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Hit the notification bell so you can get notified anytime a live stream goes live or one of our videos goes up. Also, remember that any super chat, $20 and over, you will be able to interrupt the conversation and the train of our thought, in which we can then discuss whatever that super chat is. We will then work our very best to get right back on topic after that and stay focused on whatever it is that we're talking about. So if you guys are ready now, we will get going. Mary, ready?
We're ready.
All right, here we go. All right, guys. So to get started today, The Little Mermaid just keeps being it's a well of hilarity to talk about.
Every press article for this effing movie,
To be fair,
every time has the preamble about the racist trolls. Every single time without fail.
Yep. To be fair, they love to do this, and they set them up for failure by doing this.
I mean, they do, but can you really not place some of the blame on Halle Bailey, who gives them the answers they want every single time, gives them the quotes that they want and the headlines they want? She's playing into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think 110% that she just
she doesn't know better, sure, but.
No, actually, I think she knows better. I think she's media. I don't think Disney, a company the size of Disney, sends her out there without media.
I was going to say,
training.
I don't think there's any reason for her not to play into it, right?
Yeah.
She gets to look as the victim, which we know is the most important thing in modern culture, and they get the sound bites they want, so they're more likely to do interviews with her. Like, it would be an act of integrity and honestly a nuanced view of the world to not say these lines, and I just don't think that she has that. And even if she did, there's no reason to claim that to the world in the industry that she's in.
So here's actually what she said. It says, Halle Bailey says her version of Ariel is a more nuanced than the original Little Mermaid.
Stealing my words
We've
here.
definitely changed that perspective of her wanting to leave the ocean for a boy. It's way bigger than that. It's about herself, her purpose, her freedom, her life, and what she wants.
I hate this narrative that you can't change your life for a boy or a man. Crazy.
Yeah.
I had this conversation recently with a friend. We were at a bachelorette party and just catching up on her life, and she was saying that, she has a long-distance boyfriend. He's going to move to the city she's in, and her manager at her big corporate job was kind of asking her about it, trying to see if she's like going to leave her company. She's like, are you feeling like because she wants to like move on to a less demanding project. She's like, well, is this because your boyfriend's moving down here? And she was like, I had to tell her, like, no, it's for me. And I looked at my friend and I was like,
she had to
also,
explain
it would be
herself.
good if you weren't at work for 12 hours a day so that you can be with this guy who's moving across country to be with you.
It's a little bit of an invasive question,
also,
too.
that seems totally normal. Like, if you told me that all you want to do with your life is work, I mean, I pressure Brett about this all the time. Like, no, get a life, start a family. Like you have a life, but at least start a romantic connection with someone that potentially could bring you a family and, the nuclear element of society that we all need so desperatly. Like this idea that
Now I feel called out.
Yeah, I was like, what are you
Start
doing?
a family, Brett. Why don't you?
Do you really tell him that?
Oh yeah, constantly. I think publicly on air. It's just because I think Brett's great and he tells me
Well,
all
how do you
these
know he
stories.
hasn't done that?
It's
really secretive.
Brett is. I'm like.
Yeah, maybe I'm just very private.
It's gonna be like this thing where Brett like brings a girl to work and is like, "Look, Hannah Claire, like I have a serious girlfriend
This is
now."
my wife.
And then
I'll freak out.
And
It'll
then
be
she
great.
has to be, and then I have to be like, "Don't worry, I'm not parading you around just to prove a point." Like,
No, I'll be like so excited. I'll be like, "Let me tell you these adorable stories about Brett as a potential future hockey dad." Like it's great. It's because I believe in you. I think you're great,
Thank you.
and I think you would make a very nice husband to someone. And I really think that you would be an excellent hockey dad. I think this idea that it's antiquated for Ariel to be leaving the ocean for a man is just stupid. Like, good. Let her start a family and sacrifice and show women that occasionally you can't have it all and you should prioritize having this lifelong bond with someone. Like, why is that
the
a bad
problem is
message?
they've demonized it on every level. Like where every relationship prior to Single Ladies and Independent Woman by Destiny's Child has been framed as coercive, controlling, and
It
patriarchal.
wasn't even that long before that Destiny's Child era. It was 1989 when we were like still fully in feminist girl power status quo. And I don't think that the original movie was all that sexist like they're saying in this article.
Also, I being a feminist, being independent, getting your bag queen, and any all other things that apply to that doesn't even inherently make you more interesting. If anything, you're just doing what all the men are doing. Why would anybody care? You're just like everyone else.
And you're probably less emotionally fulfilled. I mean,
Yes.
we say it all the time, but you know, having a corporate job and having that type of professional accolade and success, like great for you if you want them, but the emotional bonds that you create with real life people, your, you know, husband,
more
your spouse,
interesting
your children,
story-wise
your
to
relation
me.
to your family, whatever, like that makes you a better character, shall we say, right? Like main characters in TV shows don't spend all day at their corporate job. They have
Actually,
relationships with people, and that's what's interesting.
I did in fact.
ChatGPT had a take on this.
Yes, I asked ChatGPT
Never asked
whether
ChatGPT
I asked
for his opinion.
ChatGPT. Whether or not being in movies, does it being a feminist make a character inherently more interesting than a non-feminist character? And it gives a very reasonable answer. It says, if a character's feminist beliefs are a key aspect of their personality and are integrated into the story in a meaningful way, it can make them more interesting and relatable to audiences who share those values. On the other hand, if a character's feminism is portrayed as a token or superficial aspect of their personality, it may come across as pandering or inauthentic, which could detract from the overall appeal.
ChatGPT said that?
Ultimately, what makes a character interesting is their unique personality, motivations, and experiences, and how they interact with the world around them. While a character's feminist beliefs may contribute to these factors, they are not the only defining characteristic that makes a character interesting or compelling.
I think you should follow up with how many people are compelled by feminist storylines.
Exactly.
Like
right?
what it's going to say next is like, well, everyone loves feminism.
It's based AI, somebody says in the
Yeah.
chat. You're right.
I was
It absolutely
gonna
is.
say
And you know what this goes back to, Mary? It goes back to that song, to that Ava
That's
Max
based?
song,
That's just
which,
like an obvious
which I will push back on that
This
song.
show has a vendetta against Ava Max
In
and
this
all
song.
of
I
her
don't know who that
songs.
is.
She wrote "Not Your Barbie Girl."
And I have severe First of all, it's a ripoff of the masterpiece Barbie Girl by Aqua, which should just be left alone.
Yeah.
No
and
one could come close to that. let's
the
be honest.
idea,
Wasn't
the
there a
idea that
movie?
they take.
Oh my gosh! Will you do a cover of Aqua's
No.
Barbie? Well, because it's too much of a song. I get you.
She does in fact say that she can take herself on a dinner date, and I'm like, that's not the point of
You
a date.
can buy yourself food.
That's
I'm
just
so happy
going.
for
That's
you.
just
Can buy
going
yourself
out to
flowers.
eat by yourself.
That's just eating alone.
That's
man.
just eating
It's
by
not a
yourself.
date.
That's not a. It's like they've completely destroyed the ability for the sexes to court one another.
Yeah, I also-
and these in movies like The Little Mermaid are ground zero for pushing that narrative on kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. It's not good.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's terrible. I mean, in this case, with the dinner date example, the point of going to dinner with someone is to talk to them and get to know
Yes!
them, right? Like, I think you're missing the point. They're equating dating to be like getting financial or like beneficial compensation for spending time with someone, which like, I'm sorry, that's prostitution.
Yeah.
Like, what you're saying is like, I could buy my own dinner. Well, cool, girl. I'm happy for you. But should you get to know
You could buy
anyone
someone
better?
else's dinner too.
No,
She also
wouldn't.
says
That's
you
not
can't
feminist.
you can't touch me there, you can't touch my body. You couldn't do that when the original Barbie, that was wrong then too. It's weird, dude.
This song better not be in the soundtrack of the Barbie
It
movie.
better not.
I'll be furious.
We got a chat from Steve Ryman.
Okay, Steve Ryman said, "The time has come," the walrus said, "to talk of many things, of ships and sails and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings." Lewis Carroll, random interruptions are best.
That is
That's
good.
awesome.
I like
Thank you for
it.
the random interruption.
I liked it.
I
I
love
could
that.
visualize
We have
the
another
entire
one from
thing there,
Herrick
'cause it was from
Ribeiro.
Alice in Wonderland.
He said, relating to yesterday, watch Futurama's Jurassic Bark if you want to cry. Saddest episode in TV history. Long-time listener and first time watching live. I'm a welder in Germany and you make my mornings go by much faster.
Awesome. Dude, that is
Wow,
so
we have such
awesome.
a diverse audience.
That's really
See,
cool.
we're
Genuine diversity
Real
here
diversity
at Pop
here.
Culture Crisis, not just representation of your skin color.
it's
All lines of work, all nationalities.
I just look. I was ranting to Mary about this song the other day, like for longer than I should have been, because I do feel that in a lot of ways they want to destroy everything that made life good. And Tim even talks a lot about how the 90s was like the peak of our culture. And they're out to destroy it. We got one more.
Oh, Because Reasons said Barbie Girl played over the loudspeaker at Waukesha West, Wisconsin back in 98, I think. We all just looked at each other like, what the F was that?
What it was, my friend, was a masterpiece in the making that became a classic. And there's no reason to make
Is it really only from 1998?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Late 90s.
Okay.
And
Thought it was older than that.
But songs like this, they push narcissism, right? They push the idea that you don't need anyone else. The idea isn't that you're supposed to need another person. The idea is supposed to be that you want to be with another person and build a life together. They've destroyed the idea of partnership between the sexes as a form of building a family,
We've
which
got another one
inherently
from
becomes
Nate
part of the
Parrott.
community.
He said, Lance Reddick voiced the character Zavala in Destiny. Shortly after his passing, a ton of players gathered around his character in the hub world as a sort of vigil. Was nice to see.
Yes, it is. And he's one of those actors that, like, it's really funny. We talked about the Resident Evil remake and how bad it was. And it's like, you know how they like to call audiences racist for not liking race swaps? You can tell when they like the actor, because when the Resident Evil remake on Netflix came out and Lance Reddick was in it and nobody liked it, you could tell that everyone was going out of their way to point out, like, look, I love Lance Reddick because Lance Reddick is great, but this show is not good. Proving to you that it's not about race. It's about whether the actor's good at their job. And when you race swap a character, you're going to get more leeway when the actor is a beloved member of the community. So it's kind of an interesting way to look at that. It's why I believe that race swaps get more leeway when actors are better known. Now, there was nothing saving that Resident Evil remake, but in general, if the actor's better known, people are more likely to be like, well, I can see why they did it because that's a well-known actor that people like. So. Back to my point. They're ruining America with this crap. They are.
It's definitely going to backfire when all of these little girls grow up after being essentially vilified and demeaned for their femininity. Yep. Like, I saw a tweet the other day of someone saying they were bringing their daughter to a ballet class, like a very young girl, like in toddler age. And these other parents in this yuppie area were saying, you know, I wish that she were into something, you know, like some sport or something a little more.
They want to subvert your expectations. They want whatever.
A little less stereotypical, you know?
My favorite.
Or I'm sure she'll grow out of it, all of that stuff.
Yeah, my favorite tweet from all of this is there's this dad that was like, I really took the advice on not, accidentally putting too many stereotypes into my daughter's life seriously. So, we bought her a bunch of dinosaurs, and we bought her a bunch of Tonka trucks, and he has a picture of it, and it's like Tonka trucks tucked into some sort of like Barbie bed, like she is putting her trucks to sleep. He was like, I guess you just can't fight it, right? Like it might as well have been a baby doll because her imagination is telling her whatever her brain wants to think about. You know what I mean? I think this idea that your kids are a reflection of your parenting values, and so therefore you should convert your values to ostensibly show that you are conforming to the world is so disruptive. I think it isolates parents from their kids, right? Like this parent that you're talking about is essentially resenting their child for following their interests. Like how can we in the same breath have this culture that says be who you are, live your truth, etc., except also when you do the things that are authentically you, I won't like them.
They also point out that she did an interview recently with Variety where she kind of like crumbles her own narrative, where she points out that she looked up to the original Ariel, and whenever she'd go swimming, she would think of herself as her. I was like, so it doesn't matter.
So it didn't bother you at all back then?
No, it didn't. So it goes to prove that it's a narrative that ends up collapsing in on itself when you put any thought into it.
What do guys think of The Little Mermaid?
Okay, actually, no. I
also, Prince Eric. Like, what's the take here? Because I remember, like, similarly, swimming, you play mermaids, like, she's got the crazy, beautiful hair.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's you.
From the last
I saw what you did. It was really good.
Yes.
You don't seem like
You got me and Phil to collaborate without ever having had to collaborate.
I am my own sound mixer.
You're gonna get hit with a lawsuit in a
That was the sound of you at the bottom of a well, Carter. How do you like it?
Great.
Brett did a good job.
Do you guys remember watching Little Mermaid? What'd you think of it?
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Okay.
I want to know what the boys think.
I have no opinions on The Little Mermaid, but somebody pointed out something very interesting to me about, in a video that I was watching, about the difference between men and women and why representation is a female form trait. They said men play with He-Man and pretend to be He-Man. Girls play with Barbie and pretend Barbie is her.
Okay.
So
Barbie is her.
so there's boys pretend that they are He-Man.
Okay.
They pretend that the Barbie is them. So
Yeah.
the girls
so the same thing.
No, it's not the same.
What do you
thing.
mean?
The
No,
guys
it's the same
imagine
thing.
that they are He-Man traits and all. The girls imagine themselves just with Barbie's body.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
There is
Okay.
a difference.
There is a difference.
No, I get it. So
Yeah.
they don't want to be Barbie in the brain.
Yeah.
They just want to be Barbie in the skin.
It's
In the
different.
shell, yeah.
It was somebody talking about the Aragorn. Should we show the Aragorn video? Can they even
It's-
handle?
It's really bad, but we need to
Show us the
We need to
Aragorn.
address this.
It's first of all, before we watch this, guys, don't contact these. It's not like, just don't contact these people. This is
Well, obviously not, but
the video I was watching, he
at the
basically
same
says that-
They
time,
leave their
this
phone number?
person is broadcasting their like mental derangement about representation
Yeah.
on the internet and making it public. So we have a right to.
It was on this video that
criticize.
Zach said that comment about Barbie and He-Man. That's why I pointed it out, and that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to watch this video. It's a very acute observation. He basically says this is a learned trait, and that your parents and your grandparents would have never looked at any type of corporate product like this. But here we go.
Just give me chills.
Yeah, here we go.
Honest, trying not to, but that's one thing I didn't get to say about it. We've seen Baranor in the Shadow of War video games, but he was a made up character for the Lord of the Rings.
Okay, right there, he points out that a made-up character wasn't good enough.
Well, I mean, all of the characters are made up in Lord of the Rings.
but the point
just
is,
saying, they're all fake.
Legolas isn't
It's
a
their
real
point.
guy.
He's pointing out that one that was made that was African American was made.
But he needs specifically one of the original
Yes,
characters
yeah,
created by Tolkien to be race swapped.
Okay,
Is that what we're talking
continue, guys.
And I've never seen myself represented in the Lord of the Rings before, so this is awesome because I've never seen myself as one of the main characters before, like actually seen myself represented in some form of like official Lord of the Rings media. So
Okay, that's the important part here. Official Lord of the Rings media. They like a lot of these people, regardless of race, they need their validation from a Fortune 500 media company as if that somehow validates their existence, and it doesn't.
So
and
this
it
is just a
shouldn't.
trading card that has
Yes.
Aragorn on it, but he's black.
Yeah.
And he's with Arwen, who was not race swapped.
Yeah, I do not buy that he's trolling. There's
This
actual
is not
tears
a troll.
in that video.
All of the
Yeah.
comments
Yeah.
are in total sincerity, saying like you totally should celebrate that you're Aragorn and you're finally represented, and like
Also, it's not a real person, and
oh, my heart just
it
like
doesn't
breaks for
represent
you.
any. Like it does. Like I don't look at any character and think that person represents me. They don't represent
Well, he would
me.
say, "Well, you're white, so you're the default, and you don't
they don't
have to be conscious of whether a character
I know the
represents
argu- I
you."
know the
you
argument.
I feel like I've said this 100 times before on the show, but what if he read a fantasy novel or whatever created by someone from Africa who has black characters and then elevated that using his platform?
That is
right?
not good enough.
Like,
I
it's
think
strange to me that we talk all the time about representation and wanting to be represented, but we are not willing to look for original source materials or lift up creators that actually work within that medium. Like, he wants to be in Lord of the Rings when actually he's denying an opportunity to potentially corner a market that he is saying there is need, right? To have fantasy storylines that incorporate people of a certain racial background. I think the odds are that someone out there has already written a book like this and potentially could meet your needs, but you are not willing to search for them. You want it to be in something that already exists because you find it makes you unhappy. Like, it seems strange to me. I always go against, race swapping in original materials. Like, when Lord of the Rings was created, it was created by someone who was European for a European audience. Like, he did not leave people out to be rude. That was just the way his creative vision worked. I suspect there is probably an amazing fantasy novel that does incorporate people of whatever racial background you want.
The problem is he doesn't want that. He wants this. He said right there, they created a character that was black, and it doesn't matter to him. He wants the validation of the original character.
This person has
what I will
been
say.
severely conditioned with an inferiority complex about his race, to the point where nothing will satisfy him if not taking a white character away and changing it to look like him. It has to be an established character.
Like seeing that may actually, for me, be the best argument for race swapping. If he genuinely feels like that happy that he's a Lord of the Rings character, and because Lord of the Rings is so popular that only by taking somebody from Lord of the Rings imaginary and making them look black, if that's going to make someone that happy, like, I understand the argument.
How does it
don't
actually
understand why-
benefit him, though?
I don't think it does.
I mean,
but if
he's
he's
saying
that
it
happy
benefits him
about it,
psychologically. My
It
thing
is hard. It is hard to
It's
be
so
mad at
weird.
somebody who's that happy about something. But
I don't see that as genuine happiness.
no, I think there's a bigger problem for sure. But it's
I see this as
mind
pacifying
F.
somebody's narcissism.
and that's what
That probably
really is,
makes him
in the-
genuinely happy, though. If he's a narcissist and he sees himself
yeah.
represented,
In the
that's
end-
genuine happiness. My thing is, we should stop just chewing up and spitting out content that we've already made a million things out of, right?
We've got a $20 from Cadwell Push, I think.
Yep.
But no message.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wouldn't it be better if we found new materials that met the needs of the modern audience, right?
Oh, yeah,
This would give
objectively.
opportunity on so many levels to new projects, but instead we settle for race swapping. I
Sure.
get that Lord of the Rings has a cult following, it's been around forever, but these things develop over time, and instead of potentially lifting something that's kind of obscure but potentially could have a wide reach if it got the attention and audience and marketing, we're just deciding that we have to keep mulling over this already established world and
Oh yeah, I
storyline.
totally agree with that.
I feel like, I guess it's specifically he wants to be in Lord of the Rings, but I'm sure he would probably feel happy if he was represented in a different novel, and also would feel good about himself for, like supporting black businesses or
I
whatever.
don't think he would.
I
I
think he
think that
would.
wouldn't satisfy him, because what this is really about is taking something that is already established and changing it specifically as an outrage marketing scheme.
Seems like a chicken or the egg thing to me, though. Like, if another thing was like, is it about taking something away?
We've got a super chat from Francisco Sanchez Jr. He said, as a kid, I often thought I was Spider-Man, a kung fu fighter, and Godzilla. Hey, that's cool, but it's a kid's fantasy, and in 2023, adults can't let go of their fantasies.
Yeah, the infantilization of adults is a huge
Like,
part
this guy
of this.
is
And that's
a
part of
full-grown adult and crying
different
about
problem.
a trading
And part of that is
card.
because we, as in the West, have it so good here that
Right.
you have it so easy in the U.S. right now that you can afford to allow stuff like this to sway you that way.
Yeah.
Back in the day when you had to work as much as they did, and when life was as difficult as it was, you just didn't have time to worry about this stuff. I understand that.
Someone said cough, Velma, cough. Yes. Yeah, I don't think anything will appease this mob other than taking an established white character, and quite often an established redheaded white character, and race swapping them.
What
It's
we need-
specifically about that, and it's specifically about vilifying the fans of the original content. It's not really about wanting to feel representation. If it were about that, then he would be finding an original character that he likes.
And we would be talking about this more accurately, right? Like, white people are a global minority, and it would be deleting minorities from cultures that represent them. But we're not
Right.
allowed to talk about that way because we feel as though the demographics of America represent the world, which is not true, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like California deciding that the demographics of California should represent all film demographics.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got some super chats there, Mary.
Yes. Halls and the Kids said, Tuesdays are for all the strongest jawlines. Yeah, everyone here is chatted up except for me. Disco Jensen said, Hannah Claire, what's the status of the Fast and Furious watch?
So I'm not going to say anything until I get it done at this point. Guys, I just don't like it. I
You
don't
watch
want
it
to
on
keep
like
doing
two
this.
times the speed, maybe.
I know, that's what I'm thinking about. Or just like, I'm never anywhere for long enough to watch them. So I think I'm going to have to start like listening to the audio in my car or something.
the audio from the Fast and the Furious.
That would be,
that would
I
actually
just
be
gotta get this
That
done,
would be a
man.
hazard given all the cars. You would start thinking there's cars all around.
I don't know what to do at this point. I'm like, I just don't want to watch them, so it's difficult to compel myself. But I will see this through eventually.
Eventually. Dash Fortune said, Mary, it is okay to like something that isn't good.
Yes, actually, that's one of my.
I didn't say it's not okay to like something that's not good. I just think they're not good, nor do I like them.
Nowhere more than pop culture and movies and television are there things where you're just not allowed to like. People just get mad when you like stuff that you're
I'm
not
not
supposed to
mad
like.
that you liked Black Adam.
I'm
I
not
just
saying
think
you.
Black
I'm
Adam
saying
wasn't good.
In general, people get very mad when you like stuff that they think is bad. Like, there was a time when you weren't allowed to like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies because the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies were the good
It's just
Spider-Man
like the
movies.
Nickelback thing. People are
Kind
like
of,
not
yeah,
supposed to like Nickelback.
that's exactly
Whoa.
that's
Like,
exactly
weirdly
right.
popular. Carter wants to weigh in on that.
Like Ben Affleck, like Dane telling me that Ben Affleck is the worst Batman ever, and you're not allowed to like him, or me liking Val Kilmer as Batman. It's like kick rocks. I can like whatever the hell I want.
That's
Go
confident.
fuck yourself.
I love that.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Strong language here.
Carter, are you a Nickelback fan?
I'm not a Nickelback fan, but I was curious as to why people hated Nickelback so much, so I did research and figured out, like,
Why is it?
apparently it's just because the lead singer was kind of a douche.
Oh.
It kind of sounds like that. He gave this interview where he said that he partied the entire night before he was going on a world tour, and then
Yeah.
all of the tour buses just showed up at his house, and he was like, "What? How long are we supposed to be doing this?" And then he's just like a total douchebag to all of these hundreds of people that are employed by him.
What a jerk.
Yeah. And speaking of things that, you know, people just get angry at you for liking, Because Reasons said, Psst, pineapple.
Uh-oh. Guys, I need your opinions. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah,
Carter says yes.
I dig it.
Claire?
I've
Yeah, if you
always
want to.
dug it.
You say yes? Okay. We
Are
had
you just agreeing, though?
we had a
Would
we had
you
a
eat it?
lengthy debate.
I have had
in the
it. I
chat.
don't like order it often, but I'm not against it. I feel like it's a personal choice. Who am I to
Yeah.
regulate what you put on your pizza?
Not the question, though.
It's, but yeah, yesterday there was a hearty debate in the chat.
What about figs on pizza?
Figs
Figs
on
and
pizza?
goat
I've
cheese.
actually had that, and it's good.
Figs, goat cheese, and honey.
Yes.
What is a fig?
The fruit.
It's like a date, sort of.
Oh,
They're
that's
related.
gross.
No?
I don't think I would eat that.
At least
I
give
can't
it a
think of what
try.
other fruit. I get people do apple
But because
too.
it's a
On
fig,
pizza,
it's
like with,
not
like,
watery.
prosciutto and like other goat cheese.
Everyone is now like pineapple. No, we're talking figs. Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
But a fig isn't watery. Dane's argument was like pineapple is so watery that it makes the dough
Come on.
mushy.
No.
That was Dane's main argument there.
Does
It turned really heated.
If it's cold enough, the pineapple doesn't
But guys,
have to
Mary
be.
was eating sardines on pizza yesterday. So
That's not a bad thing.
sardines on pizza.
Oh, man.
Better than pineapple on
Yep.
pizza.
Is it because of Lent?
I mean, no, but like, I would have had it anyway. Joe Watlin said the plot needs to be based on an already existing comic book, not made up movie stuff.
Yeah.
For a superhero movie,
The funny thing is, for me,
they are based on the comic books.
No,
though,
no,
right?
not. I mean, not a lot of times they'll pull small bits of inspiration from like 5 or 10 different comics and distill them down into their own plot. And I do think that's what has to happen. I also recently have been talking more about they need to, if they're gonna complain about race swapping, I get it, but what they should be doing is just creating more original characters and then implement them back into the comics. If they for some reason don't want to include these characters that already exist, then they need to figure out a way to implement new characters because people are going to be a lot more
Oh,
forgiving of new
I'm
characters
sorry,
than they are
I
of-
missed
oh, did you miss one?
$20 from B Mafia 716.
Oh, go for it.
Sorry, I missed that one. He said, "Answer to HC. I grew up on all the classic Disney fairy tales. From the guy's perspective, I wanted to be the prince that saves the girl, the knight in shining armor fighting evil." That makes sense.
I feel like that's not a bad value. Like, this is what I hate about Disney movies. They're like, well, we made it so she didn't want to,
She doesn't
leave
even
the
like
ocean for
Prince
her
Eric.
man.
She hates Prince Eric.
She wanted to do it because she wants an accounting degree. Like, come
The
on.
new movie, she just shoots Prince Eric in the head.
Who cares? He's not even there. They're like, Eric who? She just like decided she wanted to leave her family. That's just better. It's more modern.
And
She
it's-
just
Yeah, it does kind
wanted
of
to-
promote rebelling against your dad.
It's just like in the modern one, it's gonna be like there wasn't even a prince. She just was super mad at her dad because he's so bossy, and she wants to leave
Right.
behind a core part of
The
her culture.
women writing
being
these
a
movies
mermaid.
wouldn't even know what that is because they were all fatherless anyways, likely.
Oof. It's a very broad generalization.
Slightly.
King
yeah.
Poseidon was Little Mermaid's father, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Brett,
We're saying she hates
damn.
him. I don't know.
Oh.
I just I think that's great. I think these are all positive gender roles. we
Sorry,
should
I never
promote.
even gave you my opinion on Little Mermaid.
Yeah, what is
What
it?
is your opinion on The Little Mermaid?
All I remember is that song Under the Sea that the crabs sang.
A classic?
Yeah, that's
Of
it.
course, the music is what stayed with you.
My grandmother bought me the CD.
Aw, so cute.
I got the Lion King soundtrack for
Nice.
Christmas one year.
I cried at the Lion King.
On tape. That's how long ago it was.
In
Are you
theaters.
100 years old?
I am 100
Apparently we're
years
both
old.
old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lion King was in theaters?
Yeah, I guess.
I've never
That
seen
wouldn't be in
theaters.
theaters.
It was when
now.
I was like 5?
Interesting.
Wait, what do you
I
mean
don't
Lion
know.
King was in theaters?
It was.
Maybe it
right?
was a
Well, yeah, of course.
right.
That's well. I don't see
Maybe this is a
Like-
fake memory that I'm having.
No, it
movies
probably
from
was.
Disney like that in theaters now.
Oh no,
It
like
doesn't really happen
all
anymore.
straight to DVD
It just goes to Disney
to
Plus.
Netflix.
no, they were in theaters. That's how they made their money.
Back in the day, theaters were a major institution.
Yeah.
They were, yeah. Because Reasons said, question for Brett, are you old enough to remember the fish slap meme?
No,
Okay, he
unless I saw
Is
it.
that
right?
Amanda Bynes thing? Because I remember that.
I don't know if it's related to Amanda Bynes, but he said
You just
that
want to talk about Amanda
Brett
Bynes.
should slap us, like me and Dane, with a fish yesterday, so maybe that was a reference of some kind. Brett is researching it now.
Um,
Do you see anything?
not when
Any
I've seen.
revelations? Okay. Disco Jensen said, a writer for
Oh
Cosmo-
no, never mind.
What?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
But
you do know.
I wouldn't have thought about it unless he brought it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disco Jensen said, a writer for Cosmopolitan came out saying all her work on feminism was a scam to get women into the workforce. As
Yeah.
taxpayers, too many fell for it.
As we
Yes,
know,
we-
as
all
I
saw
pointed,
this coming.
As I pointed out on here, International Women's Day was just Vladimir Lenin telling you, good job, ladies. We need you in the workforce to contribute to our socialist cause.
Stupid idea.
Right?
It's terrible.
That's what it was the point. Oh, we got a $20 one right there, and then we will move on.
Baron of Brain
No,
Matter.
from T-Bone.
Oh no, T-Bone said, HC, I'm celebrating my golden birthday tomorrow. I wanted to ask if you heard of it and if you did anything on your golden birthday. It's when you turn the same age as the day you were born. Carter, I really liked Only Ever Wanted, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
So he's turning 22 tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, I get it.
I had my
Oh.
golden birthday when I was 6, and I think people made a big deal about it. Also because my birthday's in June, so I was like 6th of June is the day
Yeah.
and the number were the same month. But man, happy birthday! That's super cool.
Yeah.
Mine was on my second birthday, so I wasn't doing much of anything.
You've all celebrated this? I've never even
No,
I
heard
never
of this.
heard of this
When's
before
your
in my
birthday?
life.
You've never heard of a
It's
golden birthday?
October 5th.
So
were
you
five.
did too when you were 5. I thought it was
Oh.
like when the month and day are the same. I thought that was the golden day, but maybe it's just the day.
Just
I
the,
don't know
just the
rules.
day.
I don't know.
Okay. We need to contact people who were born on June 6, 1966.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
All right. All right, let's hold off on the rest and we will come back,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Amanda Bynes is in the news. We covered this a little bit a couple of months ago when she got out of her conservatorship, but she was found roaming around the streets of Los Angeles naked and alone on Sunday. And it's interesting because originally she was supposed to be at 90s Con. And they were like, she canceled last minute. What's going on? Well, this is what happened. She was found walking around the streets of LA, and she was put on a psych hold at a local hospital. But her parents have decided to not seek further conservatorship. I approve. Figure out what's going on. They said that she was like, if this is drugs, you don't go immediately to conservatorship. If she's using again, you have to get her into rehab and get her clean. We obviously
Are those things
don't know-
mutually exclusive?
What do you mean?
I mean, her going to rehab and being under conservatorship.
No, she can still go to. I mean, likely
Yeah,
what's going on.
so-
Likely what's going on right now is she's if she's overusing of any sort. And I don't know if that's the case here. I'm just saying there is a reason somebody whether she's off psych meds. I don't know. I don't know her medical history. I don't know if she's taking psych meds. But if she's off them, then she needs to. There you go, Carter.
Can you?
Can you, Carter?
This is like a
Do it again.
part of the song. I can't do it over myself. Oh, is that a different one?
That's the one from last week. It's the one from last week. Yeah.
But there was no scream. So is
So
that
the whole-
minus Phil?
Say
It was
again.
Phil at the
Never mind.
beginning and then you.
Phil at
Okay.
the beginning and then
I
you.
missed it.
So the hold is 72 hours. I'm going to let you in on a personal story. I have been on a 72-hour psych hold. I was let go after 24 hours. Mine was for drugs back in the day. So look, for her, it can be a cry for help, and that's the institutional step that needs to be taken to get her into the help she needs to get. Like a lot of times, if you need help really badly, institutional help, whether that be from a rehabilitation facility or a mental health facility, one of the hardest parts is just like getting through the bureaucracy to get to one of these places and get help. Even with money, that can be difficult given, the wait lists on places like this. And a lot of times people will kind of get frustrated, and what coincides for me was essentially close to what would have been an overdose, and then you get admitted for acting erratic, and then they decide what to go from there. So they put you in a cycle because they don't know what the problem is. They don't know, are you mentally ill? Are you having a psychotic break? Or are you just on drugs? They can run a tox screen, but that takes time to get through. Right. So right now, they have her on a 72-hour psych hold, and she talks about how she understands that she needs to get help right now. Why does Hollywood, does anybody else just feel like Hollywood does this to people?
Well, it just sucks how Hollywood picks its victims, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that Hollywood is in large part to blame for her mental state right now. Yep. Maybe she would have suffered from a mental health problem if she had never been in Hollywood in the first place. You can say that, but you can't divorce the effects of being a child star from the current state she is in. It necessarily was exacerbated by that. And I know she had a ton of body image, just self-image problems from being captured by the paparazzi all the time in photos. She, at one point, I remember she was living in a hotel for a while and blacked out the windows with paint and tape.
She dropped something out the window too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that in New York. Yeah. And then a couple months ago, she and her fiance had that big domestic dispute.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm not surprised her parents aren't seeking another conservatorship. Part of it is conservatorships are not supposed to last forever.
Yeah.
And if she's having a mental issue, if there's something going on, she is still ultimately responsible for the consequences and her treatment, unless she is deemed unfit. How would you know that at this point? I feel like Amanda Bynes is this weird combination, or maybe just unlucky combination, of someone who is She is probably prone to psychological issues. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of genetic or other link to polarism or any kind of genetic predisposure to something in her family history.
And post-traumatic stress from whatever has happened because of Dan Schneider in Hollywood.
Compounded because of the environment she in. Yeah. She hasn't been acting in a really long time, and she has been getting treatment for an extremely, what we want to say a decade, right?
Yeah. I think the last movie she was in was 10 years ago.
I think it was Easy A. She announced she was going to retire, then she made that movie, then she went back to retirement. She was under the conservatorship for years. I think it has been a decade of everyone kind of acknowledging that she is not a stable person and she has not been working in Hollywood.
I think she's bipolar.
Yeah, I think there's legitimately something. And, they say certain personality types are drawn to certain industries. Yeah. She's a child star, so her parents probably put her in. But I wouldn't be surprised if similarly.
And Hollywood is awful for kids and parents relationships. I was just reading an article earlier today. Do you guys know who Jewel is? The singer Jewel?
Yeah.
It's a little bit before. You do? Okay.
I think I've heard of it.
My mom loved Jewel. Her mom embezzled $100 million from her.
Cole Sprouse just did this interview where he was saying, I think our parents put us in acting to fulfill my mom's narcissistic desires. Yeah. So anyone, it doesn't have to be the child star themselves, can be who is prone to sort of personality issues, might be drawn to a career where they potentially feel as though they are getting fame or they are, influence over someone who's
Jeanette McCurdy literally wrote a book called "I'm Glad My Mom Died," and
I heard the same kind of thing
Dan
about
Schneider's fault.
Yeah.
All Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon.
Dan Schneider was involved in both of these young women's lives. And I doubt that it was a positive relationship or influence.
But I will say, it has been a long time since she has been in Hollywood. And while the effects of whatever she experienced are obviously something that she'll live with her whole life, it seems like at this point, whatever kind of intervention she's been through is not successfully working, right? Like there was a moment when her parents were like, she has our support, she's leaving conservatorship, and we're all like, oh, cool. Like contrast this with Britney, something really seems positive.
Yeah.
But she was apparently in a very chaotic relationship. You know, it seems like that is not, there is something at play that maybe we're unable to acknowledge from the outside, you know?
Yeah. And I think like this is new historically and we're like doing it right now, but seeing yourself on a video I think can be like really like mind-boggling.
In what way?
In a way, like I think she's actually commented on this before, but like being in She's the Man,
Okay.
where she like for most of the movie is presenting as a boy,
Okay.
which is part of the plot. It like really messed up her self-image and like her identity. in a way.
You think that role
And
messed her up?
Even formerly Ellen Page, now Elliot Page, talked about the effect of like, you know, seeing oneself on camera as pregnant and then also like doing all of these red carpet appearances where you have to appear like hyper feminine and all
With
of
the
this
dress
stuff.
and everything, yeah.
It can really leave an impact on someone, like a negative impact on someone to see themselves in a certain way and be cemented in millions of people's minds that way.
Yeah.
And they'll never see you a different way than how they saw you for the first time.
It's like the Maitland Ward, the creepy stuff with Maitland Ward. She was on Boy Meets World.
Yes.
And she says that the number one she went from Boy Meets World to porn.
Wait,
and she
what?
said and she went from Hollywood to porn and said the number one thing that she gets requests for on her OnlyFans is to do stuff from is to reenact stuff from Boy Meets World.
That's not Topanga, is it?
No.
But that's how people know her, right?
That's what I'm saying, but I was saying like that's people find
You're always
see you,
gonna be
they're
who
always
they
going.
first saw.
She will always be that character to those people. Topanga will always be Topanga to people.
Wait,
That's-
which character?
I don't
from-
remember. I don't remember the
Okay.
character.
I mean, this is why we get that pipeline of like Disney nice girl to like I'm trying to be a
bad.
pop star. And
Right,
I
isn't that
do
what Amanda
whatever.
Bynes is trying to do right now? Actually,
I think she's
something with
past
music.
that point, right?
No.
Like
I don't
no,
think
last I
she's
heard she
been
wanted
working.
to be like a manicurist or something.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
She was living in like a group home and everything. I think, you know, we saw this with Miley Cyrus, right? She leaves Hannah Montana and she's putting out music and she's getting crazier and goes through her bleach blonde twerking era. And we saw this with Lindsay Lohan.
It's almost
Well,
tired.
Miley Cyrus came out on top every time.
now, but there was a moment there where it was like
I don't know.
she
Lindsay
was popular.
Lohan's about to have her first kid.
Yeah, after years of like
Go,
trying to get
girl.
over this like party girl cocaine addict vibe. I mean,
Well, you know, it was the early 2000s. It was a vibe.
Demi Lovato is
it was a
similar.
vibe.
She was on the Disney pipeline and had like a I'm gonna be a singer, and then has never really been able to get over the rebellious streak that comes with this post child star teendom or young adulthood. But I think with Amanda Bynes, it's so much past that, right? Like it really seems
Oh yeah,
like,
no, hers is like the other ones. It feels like corporatized and done on
Yeah.
purpose to sell records. Hers
Especially Miley.
Yes.
Miley's bad girl
Yeah.
phase was
Yeah.
marketing from top
top
to bottom. Absolutely.
Even she was like one of the earliest examples of pronouns and like I'm changing my sexuality and how I
Did she
define
change
it.
her pronouns,
Yeah, she did. She was
Miley?
one of the earlier examples of doing
What?
that.
To they,
yeah.
them?
You know, she changed her sexuality in 2018. I'd have to go look up the article.
was, like, fluid or
Yeah,
something,
she went
yeah.
gender fluid in 2018 or 2019 or something
That's
like
wild.
that. Right after the breakup or
Now
whatever.
Demi
So-
Lovato has done the same thing.
Yes.
But it's weird who escapes it. Like when I think about it, Selena Gomez
Yeah.
basically escaped it. I don't know why, but she did. And then there's like others like Vanessa Hudgens, basically fine. She's totally functional.
Hillary Duff.
Taylor Swift even. I know she wasn't like on TV or movies or anything.
Hillary
but
Duff.
Once
mean,
again. And Hillary Duff, but her parents were
Yeah.
involved in the
And
industry.
Hillary
actually,
Duff did not really escape, right? Hillary Duff was dating a 23-year-old when she was 16. She
Yeah,
had
but
a
she's all right
Sketchy
now.
things
weird
happen.
relationship.
But-
yeah.
but-
and
but-
she's been divorced. I mean, like she is now in a positive place, the same way we might say with Lindsay Lohan. But I think some of the differences between like Taylor Swift, whose family was deeply involved in her career, and she
Yeah.
wasn't actually pretending to be a different character.
Her dad was a producer,
Her
right?
career is totally based around her ability to write music and perform, right?
With Elon
As-
Musk.
as herself. Whereas like child stars, specifically actors, have that early confusion of you're portraying someone else. I mean, not everyone has that relationship. I think what's challenging about Amanda Bynes' situation is that it is clearly a very serious mental health issue at play that doesn't seem to correspond with this perfect Disney or Nickelodeon or whatever childhood to rebellion to stable stardom, right? Like that's basically what Miley Cyrus did. That's essentially what Demi Lovato did. A little more turbulent there. She didn't have the same rebellious phase. She just suddenly was like, I'm actually not going to act anymore. And then things got worse and worse and worse. Like if you told me she was prone to schizophrenia, right? Like Hollywood can't really manage some things. They can't make her PR enough. Whereas like narcissistic personalities, addictive personalities, like they can manage that. Some things are beyond even the reach of a PR agent.
You think that we're going to see analogs to this with influencers as influencers become more and more famous at earlier ages?
Didn't we cover a girl on here who like live streamed herself like kind of having a mental breakdown? And it was like influencer.
No, I remember that. The TikTok
Oh
one.
yeah, it was Gabby Hanna.
Yeah, so technically you've already gotten there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, kids who are raised on their parents' YouTube channels, that's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be-
I was talking about that on Twitter with
Lawsuits
someone.
incoming.
I was talking with someone on Twitter recently. I was saying,
Ace
like, there's
Family,
nothing
et cetera.
creepier than family YouTube channels.
Daddy05,
Yeah.
the most infamous example. That's going to be a disaster to watch in the future as these kids get older.
I just
Do you guys think that Amanda Bynes is like in a financially stable position after her career, or like what do you guys think?
She's probably got residuals on stuff
Forever?
Probably.
It's-
And her
She's
parents
good.
managed her finances for so long while she was in a conservatorship.
Not
I think that's
Jewel.
part of it.
Not like Jewel's mom.
My cynical view is like maybe she's not being put in a conservatorship again because unlike Britney, she's not able to
Yeah.
bring in revenue for her parents the way that
Right.
But her
well,
parents
like
always
Britney
seem
kept
to be
working and
more-
working and working.
Alternatively, her parents know that if they were like, oh, we're putting her back in a conservatorship, even if they're loving and well-intended, the media will freak out because conservatorships...
The word is like cursed now.
Right. Like, you can't put Britney back in one either, and she does not seem to be doing that well, right? I mean, I think that conservatorships are tricky, and they're supposed to be for a limited time. I know that there are people who need them in order to be protected and taken care of.
Well, she did, like, they're saying that she did flag down the car and asked for help, so she knows she needs help. If whatever is going on with her, I hope that she gets the help she needs, because it's like when you watch people, as somebody who's been through something like that, as anyone who's been through something like that can attest, like, you hate to see someone go through something like this, especially when they're not out. Like, we talk a lot about a lot of these celebrities who seem to be out to like subvert culture, and they have really, really suspect intentions. And I don't get that idea from any of the like a lot of the girls that are going through stuff like this. They're just broken, and that's
Totally.
very sad.
I hope that she lives. Like, there are so many ways that she's like could endanger her life this way. If she's in a very disjointed state of mind. Like, there's this famous case of a woman named Elisa Lam.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard of probably.
All about it.
She was like found in this hotel's water tank on the roof of her hotel, naked, and actually people found out because like the water started looking weird. And,
Okay.
But she like died in there, and people thought like some people thought it was supernatural. Some people thought that it was actually a mental health thing because she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was on antipsychotic medication. Having withdrawals for that medication
like
can make
bizarre
someone
footage
feel
in
like
the
their
elevator of
skin
her,
is
too.
burning up.
Yeah.
So she might have like felt like she was dying and needed to like cool her body down and jumped in the water tank.
There's you take enough of any you take enough uppers and your body feels like it's on fire. That is a thing.
I thought she was like off her meds though.
Yeah, I think she was off the meds, and then one of the side effects of that was like
Maybe,
that
yeah.
feeling. But then people also thought it could have been related to like supernatural stuff, just because they were like, how did she even have the strength to
Right,
get
it was
up in
kind of
there? It
weird.
was
Like she was able to get in there by herself
the
and then
height
shut
of it and
Yeah.
the strength that it would
Yeah.
take to shut the top. Like,
There's
the
a lot
lid
of
it.
weird stuff
We're kind
about
of getting
that.
off topic,
Yeah,
but
right, I don't wanna do
it
that.
just reminded me of that. Like, I just hope that she is like physically safe. You know.
You're allowed to go off topic here. We can talk about whatever the hell we want.
That's what
This
the
our
show is
this-
all
This is
about.
our podcast. We can talk about whatever the hell we want. All right, Mary, let's go to Super Chats, Mary.
Corn Pop sent us a sticker.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then he sent us like a devil emoji. And then he said, it's a troll. Believe E.
I do not believe that guy was trolling.
Yeah, I don't think he was trolling either. It seemed pretty
No, that seemed genuine.
genuine, scarily enough. Perco Rosso Forever said, HC, my grandfather didn't like storming the beaches of Normandy, but he still did it. Suck it up.
So watch those Fast and the Furious movies. It's like the same
I
thing
would
as...
never compare watching the Fast and Furious movie to fighting in the war. I obviously don't think that. I mean, that's an interest. Thank you for assuming that that's the type of sacrifice I'm making, I guess.
We're going to get you like a hat that says like...
Guy who totally likes Fast and Furious and thinks that they're good movies compares it to going to war.
I think you don't understand. They're just movies. Like, definitely not the same thing.
Corey Anderson said, marinara is wet too, but doesn't ruin the pizza. I don't know. I feel like it's like pineapple is more watery than the marinara sauce.
I don't know why
when
it's
you
so
cook it, it
divisive.
starts to
And when
steam,
you cook it,
right? Whereas
yeah.
marinara. I just want to find out what other fruit you can put on pizza. Create a whole poll.
We could have done
let
that.
us know, guys.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna end the poll here since I did do that for topic 1 today. I said, does it make a character better to be a feminist? Does it make them more interesting? And 95% say no. Not nearly as heated of a debate as yesterday's topic.
I voted yes just because
Mar-
I wanted to
Troll.
be contrarian.
Also, guys, reminder to hit the like button if you can already. I'm just trying to get those like numbers up there.
Oh, also, I wanted to remind you guys, you can leave rates and reviews for us on Spotify and all of the audio platforms. It helps our visibility on their platforms if you do that.
Thank you.
Even if you leave a 1-star review. Just
Don't do that though.
But don't do that.
I'm
Unless you feel that way, I guess. I don't know.
No. Even if you feel that way, you shouldn't
Just
do that.
lie.
You should just lie and give us a 5-star review.
Gordon Shumway said Nickelback suffered from being overplayed in the early 2000s, so naturally there was a backlash to the extreme. Same thing happened to the Bee Gees in the late 70s.
We don't hate the Bee Gees, though.
Is that the royal we? I mean,
It's Wayne.
No,
it's
it's,
also
a,
from.
it's a rule from Carter.
They left that to the Bee Gees.
I'm just saying, like, Nickelback's... so I will say this, like, the guy's got a voice. He can break microphones.
Also,
a
it's
good
also
thing,
what
but-
happened to Roman Reigns or anybody the WWE tries to shove down your throat as the guy. The fans automatically push back because they feel like they're being given. They're not. They're being forced to accept somebody that they haven't accepted. So the second they try telling you that this is the guy for us, this is the guy that's gonna represent the company, people are like, nope, not on my watch, and they start booing them. Can't win.
Baron of Gray Matter said, if you aren't under 12 or a baseball catcher, wearing a baseball cap backwards is a poor choice. Grow up.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I disagree. That's
I
Rude.
pissed some people off with the...
Is that a
Now you're gonna-
baseball
take
cap?
Now
earlier.
you're
It's
gonna
not a
wear
baseball
2.
cap.
People are.
It's
Yeah, it is.
an Alaska hat. I
Okay.
didn't know. I've never played baseball in it, but I understand what you're
Fit,
saying.
look, I have specific rules.
Now I feel like we all should put a backward baseball cap on.
I have
It's
specific
not the
rules
first time
with
I've worn a
hats.
backwards
No.
hat.
And
First day
like for
someone's
me,
been mad about it.
I have rules like for snapbacks, your hair has to be past a certain length. It has to be able to come out the front of the.
This is like you
I'm
have to
trying
wear
to
pink on
avoid that.
Wednesdays. You can't wear
Basically.
your hair up more than twice a week,
Yeah.
etc.
And fitted hats for me never backwards because you doesn't look right. But that's just me. Just me personally.
Matt,
And then one more, and then we're yes. So High Voltage 75 says Brett wears it backwards sometimes. Not the fitted hats, my friend. The fitted hats are always forward. The snapback hats, yes,
What
sometimes
are we?
backwards.
A men's fashion podcast?
Yes, that's
It's crazy.
Apparently.
It could be. I like to remind people. I think I'm going to put it, Mary, by the way, in my bio on Twitter. That politically neutral dresser, which is
Yeah.
like to this day the greatest compliment I've ever been received is being told that I dressed politically neutral.
You do.
So I think I'm going to put that in at least one
Brett,
of my bios.
you need to start a side podcast that's about men's fashion and just call it Fit and Fresh.
That's a good idea. We'll do that. We can have 4 people in a room and we can get like hoes from Miami to get their impression on men's fashion.
Matt Gingell said, Teenage Kraken trailer looks like a reversal of Little Mermaid. Ariel is the bad guy and Ursula is the hero.
Let's make one with Ursula being the hero.
Ugh.
Actually, then we have to make Melissa McCarthy
I
the
don't
hero.
know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and we will come back for it. All right, guys, this one is going to... so I don't know if you guys know necessarily what's going on in China right now, or Hong Kong, they've got rules there. They've got certain rules as far as personal expression, freedom of expression, censorship, especially when it comes to the arts. Only a few Western movies make it into China every year, but they have very specific rules in particular about the character of Winnie the Pooh. Do you know?
I wonder why.
So the point is, guys, that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey has been pulled from the cinemas in Hong Kong with no explanation whatsoever as to why that would possibly be.
Wait, so was it being shown in Hong Kong cinemas, but then they removed it?
No,
or was it never allowed in the first place?
They did some screenings. They did one rare, they did one secret screening. I have no idea how this writer for The Hollywood Reporter knows about the secret screening. I like the idea.
They've got trustworthy sources.
That he's got sources inside Hong Kong. But like they said, they did one unedited screening, and then the rest of the screenings were all cut for content because of the gore.
Literally, you would have to cut the entire
whole
movie from the movie
it would be like
to make
30
it
minutes
not
long.
gory.
Yes.
And also not show women's tits in the screen for
And why would you want to watch that anyways?
what movie would you have left? You would cut it at least half.
Are you kidding me? Look at that thumbnail. Why would you want to look at anything else? Come on, guys.
Is China very strict on how women dress
Yes.
in their movies?
Yeah.
Because this entire movie is women in bikinis, if not topless, and just getting their heads run over by a truck.
Wasn't China trying to make their video game people or the women in the video games more bodacious?
Really?
That's what I heard. I thought. Am I wrong?
But let's say we know the real reason why this movie was pulled from China.
Yeah.
Why this movie? It may not have typically affected Hong Kong before, but let's face it. This is because it features Winnie the Pooh. They didn't even allow the 2018 Christopher Robin movie, which is a much more charitable portrayal of Winnie the Pooh.
Have you watched that?
I never saw the 2018.
Okay, I've never seen that.
But
at all.
that's a Disney. It's a Disney movie, so it's not Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey.
Right. So Winnie the Pooh is obviously free use now.
Yeah.
So he's not Disney property.
No, he's not
anymore.
owned by Disney anymore.
But if you're unaware by now, it
Yeah.
means that Xi Jinping is especially sensitive about being compared to Winnie the Pooh.
He doesn't like
because
that.
They have a striking resemblance to each other. No one can deny it.
It's funny how you
fact.
wouldn't even see it unless he started owning it so much.
But there's
It's
been all those,
whoa,
memes,
why are you taking
right?
all this? Well, yeah, but he
But he made it
fueled
worse by confirming
Yeah.
it.
And that just makes it funnier.
Also,
He's
I know.
making it worse for himself.
I know.
If this podcast cuts out, we know who's responsible
know.
today, ladies
Any
and
tech
gentlemen.
issues, it's his fault.
Any tech
From this point forward. You should have had a bag of potato chips to crumple in front of the microphone.
It says they've been cracking down hard on dissent and freedom of expression in Hong Kong since it introduced the national security law there in 2020, with anything overtly sensitive to the mainland now unlikely to be screened in the territory. In 2021, the first time in 50 years, no Hong Kong broadcaster aired the Oscars. Well, that might have been because Will Smith just slapped the crap out of Chris Rock. Maybe that was why, huh? Maybe that was why.
They were worried about the violence. I don't understand how you could edit this movie
I know, right?
in
For
any
content.
way to make it appropriate for any audience.
Yeah.
It was literally all nudity and gore.
It was.
100% of the
crowdfunded?
movie was nudity and gore.
Pretty much. It was
The
it was the
entire
most
thing.
fun I've had at a movie this year. It was
I am so angry I missed it.
with
It's named after your favorite beer. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, that and my sister showed me the Christopher Robin spoof on YouTube that made it into a horror movie, and I thought it was super funny. So when this came out, I was like, "Whoa, they actually made it!"
Yeah,
I think
we
you should
did
be
want
mad-
you to come, but there was some
I
reason.
really wanted to come.
I don't remember what it was. There's some reason that you couldn't come. But
Maybe
you
I
went
wasn't
to see
in town.
Cocaine Bear with us.
Yeah, I did.
Which was good. Way
Yeah.
better, actually, than Blood and Honey. You shouldn't feel
Well,
that bad
I
about
don't
missing
know.
it.
I mean, they're both.
It
been
wasn't
looking forward to
fantastic.
it.
I wouldn't say it was a fantastic movie.
I laughed a lot. I don't laugh a lot at movies.
But we were the only ones laughing in the theater. Everyone else was dead silent, and
Yeah.
we were just the psychos at the back laughing at women dying.
It's like, look at him throwing her in a wood chipper while she's naked.
Ha!
Why did she have to
That's
be
so
naked?
funny.
Like, was he afraid that the clothes were going to get caught? Like, there's a $20 one right there.
Okay, McGunner12 said, I appreciate what you guys bring to our culture. Keep it up. Always love what Hannah Claire adds to the conversation, but she needs to rethink that pineapple on pizza take. You really let me down.
It gets people heated. People want.
We have another one from
I don't
Steve
know
Ryman,
why.
real quick. He
If I
said,
say the thing everyone wants me to say all the time, then I seem like I'm fake. You know, I have to have a couple takes you don't like.
Steve Ryman said, I have questions. Why does the Little Mermaid smell like a Gwyneth Paltrow candle? Why the outrage over Aragorn? We never saw his dad. It checks out. Speaking of Hong Kong, can any of you name Hong Kong Fui's sidekick?
I don't think it checks out for Aragorn. I don't like it's just given how he's described in the books.
I just think it's even weirder that they didn't race swap Arwen in the same trading card.
Yeah.
They left her white.
Yeah.
I like this idea that.
But if they would
we
have
haven't seen his
changed her
dad.
as well, then it would have been super racist.
Racist against whom?
I don't know.
Well,
and-
she's redheaded, sort of.
Actually,
so
you're
maybe
right
then we
because
would
they're all
freak out.
fictional characters, so it wouldn't be.
Also, does does the Little Mermaid smell like goop?
I have never sniffed a Little Mermaid. I don't know how this person got this information.
I just can't imagine the brain of like someone who scents a candle after their vagina and decides to call it goop.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a good
I
question.
thought that was just the
Interesting
name of her
choice.
brand.
Has anyone
that's the
like?
entire brand,
Her like
or is
whole,
it just the candle line?
Her whole wellness company is called Goop.
Is it all
Okay.
vagina candles though?
And then
Who knows?
I remember Kourtney Kardashian had her own line
Poosh.
called Poosh.
What?
It's terrible.
Like this is a running theme now. All of these celebrity women are just gonna come up with the most absurd names for their personal brands. I kind of like it.
Provocative.
Dollclick says, why do people like the gore? You guys haven't been through anything. That's why. Do you think that's why? Do you think people who have just never experienced any hardship in life like gore in movies?
No, I think people
don't
have
like
always
gore.
liked gore
Yeah.
because if you listen to Dan Carlin, he's got a good take on it.
What is it?
I mean, it's just people that used to do the whole like. I mean, he does a whole podcast called Painfotainment.
Okay.
I would check it out.
What
I'm
does
not
he
gonna
say about
elaborate.
it?
I'm
No,
not
tell
gonna,
me.
it's not my place. to talk
Why?
about.
What?
I'm now
What are you
curious.
talking
Well, I mean,
It's
it basically just says
literally
people used to like gather around to see like public executions and
Yeah.
shit. That's been around forever.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
So it's like a part of our brain that's always
Yeah.
been
And
there.
I don't
Probably.
actually I don't seek out horror movies. Like horror movies aren't my preference, but when we were watching the movie, it's very clear that it's funny to me. Like it's not done that way.
It's
but
kind of just funny because the production value was,
was
so
so
low.
minimal. Was so minimal,
Oh,
right?
was?
Like yeah. It's I mean they made it with like
Kurt's
it
disappointed.
only
I
cost
am.
How
it
could they
only
do this to
it
me?
cost like under $1 million to make.
Yeah.
So like they spent very little to make it. And the dialogue is almost non-existent throughout. The dialogue is really bad and
It was,
wooden
yeah.
throughout
I feel
throughout
like
the whole movie.
the idea that like you shouldn't like gore because you haven't been through anything, like it's not, doesn't really follow. It's like saying like, why do people want to go into surgery? Like they've never done anything intense. Like some people have the stomach for it and can handle it, and other people can't.
People have been saying like there was a couple of comments like anytime we talk about anything related to addiction or drugs, who like when we were laughing at the TikTok girls and the fake Adderall stuff, I'm like, they're like, why would Brett a criminal drug addict? I'm like, okay, first of all, never a criminal.
They called you a criminal?
The comment called me a criminal drug addict. I said, first of all, never a criminal. Second of all, like, yes, I have been through that. Therefore, once you go through something like that and you come out the other side, you have to be able to learn to laugh at stuff like that. Otherwise, life is going to be very long and arduous if you never learn how to make light of the horrible things or the bad things that have happened to you in your life. So no,
I also
disagree
don't think
with
that you need to go through the thing that you're watching in a piece of media to, I don't know, get something out of it, whether it's like a feeling of like it's humorous or it makes you feel sad
You don't
or
need
whatever.
to be.
Like,
You don't need to go to film school to critique movies either.
yeah,
like, you don't.
need to personally relate to.
I thought the whole point was that
Something.
you haven't.
Yeah, it's
I don't
giving
know.
you exposure to something you've never seen.
I've
just
never been
like, I
tossed in a
don't
wood
know.
chipper personally.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I can't watch it in a movie and have some reaction to it.
Yep.
It is also interesting because some people can handle all kinds of gore and other people can't.
Yeah.
You'll
I don't
like there are
inherently
people
like
who
it.
like can't see it when you like cut your hand, right? Like
Yeah.
they can't see the blood, but they could watch, someone get blown up or jump off a building, right? Like our brains are sensitive to these things on levels that like I don't think that we could necessarily guess all the time.
Okay, so then here's a way to tie it back into what we were talking about. Is China doing the right thing, Mary, by preventing their people
so you
from
asked
watching
me.
these? Well, you're the fascistic censorship happy one here, right?
Scream Crisis Party.
Kidding.
Thank you guys.
She's like, I have to wait to answer now.
We're processing.
Is China doing the right thing?
I mean, if we're being totally honest, it's probably getting censored because of the gore and nudity and not because of the Winnie the Pooh memes. But the Winnie the Pooh memes are probably
I
part
think
of it.
is.
No, I think
it's all Winnie the Pooh.
It's all together, you know. Like China wouldn't have approved this if it were about some other Disney character anyway, because it's incredibly gory and salacious. You know, like they don't like that type of content anyway.
Are we sure? Because like I just don't keep up with it enough. Like, have there been other slasher films that have been allowed to go out in China?
I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
that's what I feel like you could settle this if you were, you know, we need like a Chinese film critic who monitors it to be like, no, they do let gore in. It's Winnie the Pooh.
We need the Hollywood Reporter to tell us with all of their
Right.
Chinese sources.
Yeah, seriously.
But I mean, are they right to censor these things? I think that people in other parts of the globe are maybe less precious about the suspension or just straight up non-existence of their civil liberties.
Yeah.
And to them, it's neither here nor there, honestly. So part of, you know, valuing liberty as a principle of value in a transcendental way is just letting them operate their countries the way they want to operate their countries, and that's how it's been, you know, for that's their precedent. That's how they run things. I don't think we need to be concerned with it.
Yep. But it is still going to always be funny to laugh at the fact that they wouldn't let a movie in because the character looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, and it's also like still America being the main cultural exporter, and I would like for us to remain that
Technically,
way.
that's a UK movie. It's not American.
Oh, it is?
That's true.
Yeah.
I like the West though. We can lump
Yeah,
it
it's
together in
it's
this
Western.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Super Chats, Mary.
Bobcat said, Brett, I need you to make sure all the Fast and Furious movies are available in the cast bunker so HC can finish that challenge even during the apocalypse.
I might have to like.
Also have to lock me in the bunker.
Yes. Well,
Brett's physical media collection is actually across the country,
Yeah,
so if we have societal collapse anytime soon,
it's
he's not
coming
going to
over
have
here.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Corn Pop sent us another sticker that says spoiler alert,
Thank you.
and then thumbs up, and then a banana peel.
Thank you.
Thanks for all that input. Thank you. Wayward Soul said, old dudes singing songs about high school are lame.
Is that in relation to
that
Nickelback?
Nickelback?
I don't know. Is it?
Or
sure,
Bee
maybe.
Gees? Or
the Beach Boys.
That would be
anti-Beach Boy
one
fan?
for the Beach Boys, maybe. I don't know.
know.
I'd have to look at some lyrics by
give us an example, Wayward Soul.
Nickelback.
What
don't
song
know.
did I want you to cover?
Barbie song?
Oh, we were gonna cover a Justin Bieber song.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Which one did we?
Sorry, that's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So when
Yeah.
when can we expect a release of this cover?
You never asked me to actually do it.
I definitely did.
No, you said
oh,
if
I
you
did
were
say
gonna cover
hypothetical.
one. Yeah.
Okay, I'm now formally requesting a
Can I
cover of-
change
sorry.
my mind to a
To
different
what? To which-
song?
it has to be a Bieber song. That was
Yeah,
the whole
can you
point of
do
last week's
Lonely?
conversation.
Maybe.
Lonely is a good song.
I like that. Well, what's that?
He yodels in it.
Oh, I haven't heard it, so I gotta.
I want to
gotta
hear your
it.
yodel skills.
I
Very
gotta get
curious.
some.
I've been thinking more about what we were. I'm completely going off topic here. I've been thinking more about what we were talking about the horror movie and gore thing, and realized that like for me, a lot of it is more. I like the technical ability behind it. Like, how did they
Right.
actually
You're like,
make
well,
that?
the blood looks so realistic.
Like-
All that ketchup is crazy.
Corn syrup. I don't know if they
I think
still.
that is
I don't know
what
if
they
they
make ketchup out of these days.
I don't know if they still use corn syrup, but like I enjoy I love the stories about like how when I found out that in this from Scream 5 on they removed the retractable knife and started using a CGI knife. I'm like, oh come on,
Oh.
dude,
Ew.
the retractable knife works fine. Like it's like you go like this and the thing goes
it
away.
probably hurts a little bit for someone.
Good. It should hurt a little bit. It probably makes it easier for the actor to imagine they're actually
yeah,
getting
exactly.
stabbed.
If someone's actually like hitting you multiple times with a blunt object,
Yeah.
you're not getting stabbed, but you're gonna react.
You're
You
getting
know?
stumped with some
Yeah.
kind of stump.
You're getting stuck.
I will say this though.
He stumped
there's,
me. It's
there's
crazy.
also
Stumped.
there's also something to the argument too, because for me, I can watch like any sport, like any of the action sports. I can watch the falls, but I'm not a huge fan of watching them fall like in the sport that I do, right? Because it's too close to what you do. But I'm also the person who, like, I broke every rule there was about decorum. Where, like, if you're at a session and somebody's planning to do a trick, I'm the person who says out loud what the worst possible outcome could be if they miss. Like, oh, what if you fall to the other side of the drop rail? Your foot gets caught in the crossbar, and then you clip your shoulder on the side and you break your neck. And they're like, and I'm just like, well, to me, it's comforting to know what the worst possible outcome is, because how often does that actually happen? Very rarely.
So are you saying it to cover yourself or to psych them out? Because if they don't,
No, I don't do it for. I just have
just do it?
poor decorum. My mouth moves before my brain catches up with it, as you all know. That's just one of those things that happen. But it never bothered me if I'm like looking to do a trick that's dangerous and somebody lists the worst possible solution. I don't feel like they're making that more plausible by saying it out loud. I'm already thinking about it. Really?
I'm like, well, shit. Now that you said that, I might just think about it into happening. Yeah.
That's not real. That's not real. It's
how dare you
like
validate
if somebody said that to me, if somebody was like, look, I only took that fall because you said it out loud, I'm like, then you weren't prepared enough before you even did the trick. And now you could say that that's not nice, and it's not. But I've only done that.
Nothing, says Brett.
A couple
Brett
of
the sadist.
You know, like just then again, I have my headphones in most of the time when I'm skating, so if they were saying stuff like that, I wouldn't even know.
Another thing about gore, though, we were complaining a lot that there is not enough of the cordyceps in The Last of Us, and I was comparing it a lot to The Walking Dead, because in The Walking Dead there is a lot of gore, but it doesn't take away from any of the other scenes, or like the dialogue or any of the plot moving along. I think you can have both, and honestly, like, The Last of Us skimping out on the cordyceps was mostly like a budget thing.
And that doesn't bother, like, go, like, I don't seek gore or horror movies or anything like that.
But
like,
we just needed some action.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't even any action hardly between the characters, let alone the monsters.
If anybody wants a good, like, PG-13 version of not horror, but where there's good death scenes, the show The Following, which was a show about a serial killer cult, has a lot of good, like network TV violence, because it had the 10 p.m. time slot. So you got a lot of good death in that show that was not extremely graphic. But when it's not extremely graphic, that usually means that the filmmakers are more artful in how they do it. So the suspense is built through camera work, sound editing, and camera cuts, right? So
Same
it's done,
thing with sex scenes.
Yes, exactly. So it was done very, very well. So I do recommend, if that, I don't even know if that's on any streaming services. I've never seen it on any of them. It was a Fox show that likely disappeared into the abyss. I don't know if it was owned by Fox, but it was aired on Fox. And if it was a 20th century property that was then bought by Disney, I don't think Disney's putting the serial killer cult show on Disney Plus. I just don't think they're doing that. But it was good. And yes, Kevin Bacon and James Purefoy are the leads in that. And one of the best shows you will ever find for amazing uses of music in a television show. That actually, now that I think about it, that could be one of the reasons, is the music. They used a lot of really, really famous songs. So there could have been music rights issues with that show.
Because Reason said, Hannah Claire, try pepperoni with banana peppers. Juicy.
Huh? I'm not a huge banana peppers person, but...
Thought he was just gonna leave it at bananas. Like,
yeah, or banana peppers aren't a fruit, right? Like they are.
I've never even
have
heard of a banana
inside.
pepper.
I thought fruits. That makes them a fruit. What is the science
having
on this?
seeds inside, right?
Oh,
That's what
yeah,
makes it a fruit.
right? Because I
like
think
strawberries are technically vegetables because their seeds are on the outside.
No, but the seed is
the
the
seed
fruit,
themselves are
and the
in the
berry
thing.
is the seed. That's
So it's
the
a berry.
argument.
Got
I
it.
don't know why.
It's over 9,000 said, as cringy as the name Brent is, other names like Brit or Brint are even cringier.
I'm loving this.
I never heard the name Brent.
What the
I
hell?
Where?
It's kind of like Craig and Greg.
Craig.
What?
Would I
Yeah.
rather be a Greg
This is
than
not
a
a.
Craig?
Dude, this
So
is a
would I.
psyop. This is not a real thing. Brint is not a real name.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
No, that's not a real thing. Brent is fine. There's nothing wrong with Brit. Brent is. I make jokes about how Brent is cringy because I say, like, it just they wanted to name them Brett, but they sneezed when they were telling the doctor. They're like, Brent. But I'm actually kidding.
Because reasons.
Brent is a name.
It
Brent
is?
Anderson Band.
Because Reason said it, so I guess we don't care about John Wick 4 coming out yet.
What? We do care. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Did something new happen? It comes out in like at this week or Thursday or something.
Yeah, it's hard to like continuously just mention stuff. Like you can mention when the trailer comes out, and you can mention when it comes out, but that middle period, there's
people
sort of no
were
hype.
mad about our takes on Donnie Yen. They were not happy with that, man.
They were just Chinese bots. We know that.
They could have been. Yeah.
Nathan Koss said minus 50 social credit points for anti-revolutionary behavior from each.
Well, that's too bad. I mean, I don't.
No, not my social credit
I'm
score.
sorry that he's offended by this. Like Winnie the Pooh was a beloved Western children's character. You'd think he would like latch onto this and be like, it makes me more
Look,
relatable.
if he had a
it
PR
makes me
team,
seem
yeah.
fun. You know what I mean?
It's like, hey, you're going
I
to
guess
embody this Winnie the Pooh character, and
it'll be good for you. Like
less
Western
threatening to
children
your-
will think,
well,
oh, that guy reminds me of a beloved character. Like,
Right.
I guess it makes him look like chubby and
Well, he wants
not
to be more
strong.
intimidating, you know?
well, that'll be a perfect
think
opportunity for Blood and Honey.
Yeah,
Brint
that's
is like
true.
Brint. You know what Brint is like?
Blood and Honey could rehabilitate the way that people see him and compare him to Winnie the Pooh.
He needs a
would
better
actually be his
PR rep.
opportunity.
He needs a better PR rep. You know what Brint is like? It's like Todd, but Tad. Because I renamed this like.
Yeah,
I named Timcast's like official FBI agent who listens to us in the van outside.
His name's
likely,
Tad.
his name's Tad Bromwell. That's the name I gave him, and I imagine that he by now has a strong amount of Stockholm syndrome, where he watches us on his feed, and he's like, he loves this house, and he just wants everybody at the company to like do well, because he's basically become. He's cheering
like
for us now.
parasocially
Right.
related.
Yeah, he's like
now.
every time something bad happens, he's like, no, and then that's Tad Bromwell.
That's funny. Brent sounds like the name you would give a cartoon of a football player who's like a total blockhead. Brent. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I know
Brent.
Brent is a name. Is
Brent
Brent, like
I think
Sprint,
Brent
but with a
Is
PR?
Brent short
Brent
for something?
appears to be a name, but also it's a last name. So I think when people get it as a
What?
first name, it's because it's a
Like
last name.
my brother's name's Ben, so everyone thought it was short for Benjamin, but it wasn't. It was just Ben. it's like Benjamin. He's like, no, just Ben.
See, I always like those names where it's like if you met a girl and her name was Liz, but actually it was Lizard, or like Elle,
Or
her
Lizzo.
full name was Elephant. You know, like I feel like those would be funny. I don't understand.
You
why
ever
people
met
do
anyone
that.
named Croy?
Troy.
You're
Like-
just making stuff up
No,
now.
that is a name.
Like
Spell it.
LaCroix?
Spell
Like
it right
drink?
now.
It's like Troy, but with a cr,
Oh.
With a K or a C?
with a C.
You've met this guy?
Who?
I know of one person, and that's it.
No.
I don't even know the person. I just know that it exists.
There's a
Interesting.
band called Croy and the Boys.
There you go.
There you go. Started a band.
Somebody in the chat says Tad makes.
It is a
PCC
boy's
memes.
name. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Which one?
Croy. It's coming up as a name.
Really? What is it?
How do you spell it?
Croy.
Kevin.
It's a boy's name, a variant of the English name Croydon.
Kevin Jones says it's a Louisiana name.
Kind of ruins it for me. I thought it was.
Well, man, do you know a Croydon?
no.
Some more names, please.
He told you
all
his
I
name was
got.
Croy, but his real name was Croydon. You didn't know it at the
What
time.
about Jarvik?
You know
Do you know
Jarvik?
Jarvik?
No.
Okay, never mind. Disco Jensen said Disney doesn't have the gumption to race swap Tarzan.
Nope.
So true.
They
They're just
do
gonna
not.
make him subtly
wouldn't
more
dare.
and more tan. No, they're not gonna do it all at once. That one's gonna be a subtle change.
They're hoping that eventually that they can.
And
do
it'll
it
be like,
in-
oh, his parents were explorers. Like initially they think it's from like England, right? And then it'll be like, oh, actually they're from Spain, Portugal. Actually,
I think they'll just make him even
Morocco.
whiter. They'll just make him super duper white.
No,
Also, Tad Brownwell, if you're listening, thank you for keeping us safe.
Jorvik's not coming up as a
We
name.
are kind of like calling out people with these names. I kind of feel bad. now.
Someone named Brent is watching. And
Maybe
he's
they're glad
feeling
that they're
attacked.
getting representation.
Right.
Like our view count just drops precipitously.
Your entire audience is
We were
British.
high.
I'm like
we were,
monitoring the
yeah.
chat for Croys now. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, crisis actors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
The next one is just Corn Pop's sticker that says "Yum." So
Okay.
Thanks for that, I guess.
Do the
I don't
next
know.
one underneath there.
Okay, Hotep Tiger said, Halle
Hotep?
Bailey face don't match her body. She looks 16 in my opinion. Hotep and build.
Yeah, I
I
kind
don't know
of
what
agree
that
with
means,
that.
but
You think her face looks like she's
I mean,
16?
she looks like a 16-year-old kid.
Like her face looks 16, her body looks 16.
Well, I actually don't know. I've never seen the movie, so
She's 22, so it hasn't been that long.
No. All right, we're moving on, guys.
She's also a mermaid, though.
Yes.
Every time we talk about her, I for a second think we're talking about that other
Halle Berry?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are not talking about Halle Bailey. That's what she wants now. Like her goal in life is to.
I
Like
think
her
it
goal
is.
in life is to become
Way
the
to give
bigger
your
one.
daughter a complex, though,
I know,
right?
Yep. All right, we're moving on, guys. So Jason Sudeikis and the cast from Ted Lasso were at the White House to talk about mental health. I don't know why.
They invite literally anyone to the White House these days.
Yes.
Not anyone, just any liberal anyone.
Well, they invited BTS, and I'm sure they were like, "Who is this
Who's
old man in
booking
the
these
Oval
people?
Office?"
They're trying to be like, we're young. Like, do you remember they had that influencer who's like, he's a guy, but he wears like long fake nails, and he's like,
Oh,
I
I
guess kind of
remember that guy.
flamboyant. And he did like a TikTok where
Lost
he was
out to
like,
Dylan
walking
Mulvaney
around.
in
Wasn't
the
he an
popularity
intern?
contest.
He did.
He like was an intern
For a day? Was it
not
a
like
White House
But
takeover?
that was the
Yeah.
problem.
Media
He was like,
takeover?
all of the conservative news outlets were like, this is their intern. And it was like, he was clearly there for like
So it was a
one
bait.
day. Yeah.
So a journalist for Today News Africa, who is the chief White House correspondent for them, named Simone Atiba, got very mad because they don't call on him, and this all happened while
He said he hadn't been called on in 7 months.
And look, like
Believe it.
the more annoying part here is, as bad as that is, you have to watch this interview or this like speech that Jason Sudeikis gives where he talks about the importance of
So
mental
bad.
health. And it kind of shows you the
Why?
pipeline. It shows you the pipeline of why how Hollywood understands just how important these celebrities are.
Someone who's into Ted Lasso, please tell us why Ted Lasso is at all relevant to the issues of mental health.
That's what
in this country. Like,
I don't get it. Like, I know there's a suicide prevention walk, I think in DC this weekend. Like, is there something I'm missing? Like, why is this coming up right now?
And
why
why
is
do
Jason Sudeikis
do
involved?
actors have to be involved in this?
Where's the
I don't
connection?
care about actors if it's relevant, but like, why the cast?
Like,
of
I didn't
Ted
watch
Lasso?
Ted Lasso, but I assumed it was about whatever the thing at the White House was about, but it's not.
No.
I just no. He's like a
Soccer
soccer
coach.
coach.
Yeah. Football
also-
coach, sorry.
Bizarre.
Kind of feel like it's too soon because he's gone through all that stuff publicly with Olivia Wilde, and if he's trying to say,
No,
like, I have been through some stuff, and so it's okay, like hang in there, like.
Well, if
I don't
Jason
know.
Sudeikis has been through it,
I
then
made a tweet
But that's not
last
what he
night.
said, right?
I don't know.
I made a tweet last night because I've been rewatching House, and we're on the season where Olivia Wilde shows up, and it's just she's so unbelievably smoking hot that it's like hilarious. I'm just like, yes, we can forgive you for your cringy surface level Hollywood feminism, but my goodness, did you look like $1 million on this show? And you were such a complex character.
Well, that's how she has gotten away
Yeah.
with being the type of person
Yes.
she is for so long. Is
Yeah.
like, if you're hot enough, people will just overlook it.
But she had
I
a
forgive
very
her for
complex
nothing,
character.
but she is very striking. I just think that she's also the worst.
No, she's all. But I'm saying like who's Ted Lasso? Who's Jason Sudeikis to lecture people about mental health when he serves his ex-wife papers while she's giving a speech on stage?
He claims
That was
that
such
was
a
not
Chad
intentional.
move. I hope it was. I have more respect for him if it was. That would have been the best thing.
He's like, can you make sure she gets it while she's giving the speech?
He put out a statement like that. They were like, they didn't have a choice when she was getting served, like da 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 da. And I wish he specifically requested she got served while presenting her like I'm a lady director in her blue velvet blazer, which I have to say I'm still envious of. It's a great blazer. I just feel like she is so terrible, and good for him. She leaves him for this like young British pop star when they have like children together. Like,
That actually makes Jason Sudeikis the perfect advocate for mental health, because that must have been incredibly
Yeah.
that's what I
mentally
said.
damaging.
Like, it seems weird to me. Like, why is he going as Jason Sudeikis of Ted Lasso? He should just go as Jason Sudeikis, who's been publicly cuckolded. Like this
guy who has been
The character has-
publicly
the
engaged to a feminist for
He has to
almost
His character in
disassociate
the
himself
show
by
has mental
using
health issues, so I
Ted
guess
Lasso.
That's why. The
yeah.
character
So
in the show.
that makes perfect sense, right? So
Why-
Was that
they
put in there because of his
they connect better
circumstance?
with people because they understand that human beings don't connect with
This
real
is
people
what-
anymore.
But also, like, why now? Why this? It's excuse me, but it's still Women's History Month. Like, why is it?
oh, it's because women have mental health issues. That's why.
I just don't get it. Like, why?
Calm down, ladies.
No, but I'm serious. Like, okay, at least his character has some mental health issue, but like, why the White House this week? Like,
This
I
is
don't
what our
understand.
current administration thinks is culturally relevant and speaks to ordinary people, and it obviously
There's so
doesn't.
much shit going on. Everyone's got mental
I mean,
health
he was
issues
just
now. So
he
they're
was
like,
throwing
oh.
out all of the empty platitudes. It was
Women's
like,
History Month.
seek out help if you need it,
No
but
matter-
also
Oh,
like
so he was
check in
speaking
with
to
your
women.
friends and
I know that no matter which way you vote, we still should care about each other. I'm like, oh God.
like you don't mean
You don't
that.
freaking mean that. You don't mean that at all.
I
Like,
hope he
none of these
votes
people mean
for
that.
Trump just to spite.
Yeah. Oh
No,
my
I hope he
God.
votes for Trump just to spite Olivia Wilde.
That would
now.
be really based.
I think it'd be hilarious. I don't think he will.
Voting out of spite.
Yeah, I like that Atiba got his moment in the spotlight though
Yeah,
here.
like they don't call on him. How rude is that? That's racist too.
He
Can't do
said,
that. It's
"You're
racist.
discriminating against some people in the briefing room, and I'm saying this is the USA. This is not China. This is not Russia. What you are doing, you are making a mockery of the First Amendment."
He's right.
He said
Other
this-
people in the room called for decorum.
Oh,
They're quieting
of course, quiet.
African-American pleb.
Decorum is more important than free speech.
Also,
We know
Quiet
that.
pleb.
He said
That's
this
what
to
they're
Jason Sudeikis.
No, he said this to the press secretary.
This is the journalist.
So what does that have to do with Jason Sudeikis?
Because it was
same
in the
day.
lead up. It was right before he went on
Lord.
stage.
Jason Sudeikis is like, how do I follow this act?
Yes, that's
Let me talk about
basically
mental
it.
health really quick.
Exactly. And then they just gave him softball questions, and
That's the
Like
worst
what?
part
they
too.
walked out.
Yeah, like he literally talked for like 4.5 minutes, and the rest of the cast was all there.
They were just
and you
standing
know
in
that
the
our
background.
our tax dollars paid for those flights for them to all be there to just stand in the
Do we
background.
think that Biden is just a big Ted Lasso fan, and they're like any excuse to get him out?
Obama was a huge House of Cards fan,
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
Interesting.
Isn't
Loves
That
Kevin
explains a
Spacey.
lot.
what was the other one? He was big, and I think he loved The Wire too. That makes perfect sense, given that
That's a bit of more of a universal appeal.
everyone loves the
What
Wire.
TV do you think Biden is into?
We
We know Trump is a news guy.
Dahmer.
Trump
He's
is like,
like,
he's always watching the news.
What's that thing on Yo Gabba Gabba or whatever?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
something with lots of colors and soothing
Cocoa
sounds.
Melon.
Cocoa Melon.
Cuties
thank
and
you.
Cocoa Melon.
Oh God.
Oh no, not cuties.
So yeah.
I miss when cuties referred to that brand of clementines.
Orange, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I don't know what would Joe Biden watch on television if he had to. I actually want to take this like as a serious question in like one of his foggy moments when he can actually think clearly right after the
Golf.
CIA gives him the CIA gives him the super drugs. Like what is it that he watches? Golf? Maybe golf. He might be watching the World Series of Baseball right now. They mentioned the World Series of Baseball during this.
Oh.
So I actually talked about this last night. I have somehow managed to not buy a Team USA hat. Even though the World Series of Baseball is all the highlights I'm seeing on social media, and I keep seeing the hats, and
Get
I'm like,
so
I want,
influenced.
and I want to buy one.
Why wouldn't you?
But I
you
don't
support our
do it.
country?
Like a good
You
consumer.
anti-
Like, yeah, I don't know. I said I want to. I actually like made a post the other day. Said like my Amazon list has looked a little bit like a consumerist hellscape lately, and I need to cut back.
What is your Amazon list if not consumerist health space?
I'm saying, but, like the
Healthscape.
frequency of it, the just buying too much lately that I don't not that I don't need, but don't need right now. And I think that there's a way to put that off. So just
Your purchases always strike me as incredibly esoteric. For some reason, you're just always like looking for a vintage like Letterman jacket or like some like obscure
I did almost
vintage hat.
I did almost buy a 1980s, like a late 80s sort of Omens from Thundercats, not because I collect them, but because I had one as a kid and I lost it. And it always bothered me where the hell that thing went. And I never found out where.
I have a couple things that I lost in childhood.
Like,
that
and
it's
I had no clue where it
I
went.
know I put them in
Yeah.
that one place and they're gone.
Oh, I thought it was, I left it at my uncle's. And for years, I like every time I would go to, like, 'cause my uncle, lived with my grandparents, right? So I would go there once a week and I'd look around, imagining in the same places, imagining this time I was going to find it and it was going to appear.
I still do that. I have things that I've lost currently that I still look around for.
Yeah. Like,
This is a mental health crisis. Clearly.
Bring in Ted Lasso. He'll talk to us about it.
Shimmy Shelley says, "Stay away from Etsy, Brett." Oh, I do my best. I've got a couple of Etsy related. The
Some of
sign,
your art, right?
The pop culture crisis sign behind me is Etsy, and then
the-
so is that right there is also Etsy. Those are both. Oh, actually, no, all three of them behind me are Etsy. Holy
Oh,
crap!
okay.
Yes. They're all Etsy. Dang it, you're right.
You just got caught in the act.
Good consumer, like they
I feel
said.
like I forget
right?
to check Etsy for things, but Etsy can get kind of woke, so
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like against shopping off them. But there's really no alternative for like handmade
For like Tom
marketplace
Cruise
stuff.
candles.
That I bought at a small business.
I found
I stumbled across it in the wild, and it said Brett's name.
They have a Pedro Pascal one on Amazon. I went looking for like celebrity prayer candles because I was like, maybe we can start an
goodness.
Avengers list of celebrity prayer candles. I don't know who else we'd have. I'd have a Denzel Washington one maybe, or a Wesley Snipes one. I did recently have to buy 4 or 5. I bought 5 separate 4x8 pictures of tax hero celebrities who have all done their part by not paying their taxes here against the U.S. government.
Patron saints of tax evasion.
Yes, Wesley Snipes, Martha Stewart, couple of other ones.
There's a bunch of Martha Stewart candles, and then there's also a bunch of Snoop Dogg ones. And often they're sold together.
Well, because they're buddies, right? There's also one of those fake celebrity friendships that they're not actually friends in real life.
They might be.
They're totally not.
Well,
Mary's
maybe
like, don't ruin this for me.
They were at one point, and then now it's just business.
yeah, it's like they have like a big candle together. That's
Like working
business.
together ruined their friendship.
Yeah, like that's actually funnier that they became friends organically and then decided to work together because it would be for the lulls, and then it ruined their relationship.
My
the
grandmother
lulz.
lived next door to Wesley Snipes once.
Really?
Yeah.
Brett's losing
Isn't that
his
weird?
mind.
Where?
L.A.
And for how long? They just hung out for a minute?
No, she used to see him outside. That's all I remember.
That kind of thing. It just
one of those
happens
Was he out
in
there
LA.
just not paying his water
Like my
bill,
uncle
too?
was
Good.
a director, so
Oh.
I think that's why she was down there.
That's like that story right there is right up there with like we did a whole topic the other day about some actress, and then like 2 topics later, Ian's like, I met that person at a restaurant. I'm like, how did that
I
not?
didn't even mention
He
it.
didn't
Yeah.
even mention it when we were talking about
I didn't
the
want to
person.
upstage you guys.
He's humble. He doesn't name drop.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I just think like the celebrity stuff. I noticed it most first when Obama was in office. Like, why is he doing all these late night shows? Doesn't he have work to do?
Because Obama wanted to be a celebrity,
Yeah.
and being a politician was just his way to get there.
Then it worked.
There were similar criticisms of the Clintons because when Hillary Clinton was first lady, when she did the Christmas decor, she used basically only designer things, and like all of her Christmas trees were, from like I think there was a Vera Wang tree and like things like that. Like it seemed more about showing that they were like affluent and like elite. And in some ways, I think you're right. Like the Obama presidency did the same thing. Like we're buddies with celebrities. We're like regular people, except our friends are all like beautiful celebrities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
and
still
then
like
now
that.
Obama's daughters both, I think at least one of them, but maybe both
Is
of
a
them
writer.
work in the film industry.
Yep. They both do.
Interesting.
Yep. All right, we got some super chats there, Mary.
Gary Thomas said, ironically, wasn't Allison Mack in The Following?
Was she in the? No. If she was, that she would have already been in jail by that point. Or like, I'm gonna have to double check on that. I don't think she was.
The Following is streaming on Freevee
Okay, I don't ever count sites that make you watch ads, but yeah, it's
for free with ads.
It's also on the CW.TV. If anybody goes to the CW.TV.
It's on Google Play, Vudu.
Ugh, but it's great. I don't remember.
You can buy it on Amazon though. See, no ads. There you go.
I'm looking for Allison Mack. If she was only in a couple of episodes. I just remember there was a great. It's one of the great examples of there's an actor in the show who plays both twins, and they do a really good job in the show of like not making it seem like it's the same person. One of them has slick back hair, one of them doesn't, and they manage to do the shots where it's like very clear that they're both like that they've doubled the shot. They keep those to a minimum, so it's actually done really, really well. I don't remember that actor's name. I think that's Sam Underwood.
Gordon Shumway said, Carter, people used to hate the Bee Gees. You're probably too young to experience the hatred for disco in the early 80s. They literally had a disco demolition night at Comiskey Park. YouTube it.
I will.
I feel like disco should come back, right?
I mean-
feel like
Should it,
we
though?
need like a whole.
It's been on its way back
Chat,
for a while.
thoughts,
Has-
chat?
It is on its way back.
Oh yeah.
It is?
We could talk.
Well, I
about
mean,
it.
isn't that kind of the like
Yes.
what was the
Look at the weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a lot of things are sort of alluding to it, but no one's really fully committed.
Megan Trainor's music was kind of like that,
Yeah,
wasn't
and
it?
she's crazy
Like,
popular right now.
Dude,
like-
her music is like overly doo-wop sampled.
That's right. Okay, doo-wop is what. I
And
mean.
very
That's coming
corny.
back too.
I'm not
Like
a fan.
What about like
oldish,
big band music? Where there's like a whole band. There's
I
like
like
a
that.
singer. Is that coming back?
like Frank Sinatra with full band type
sure.
things.
Yeah.
What's coming back is bluegrass.
Brendan
coming
Urie
back for,
tried
like,
to
5
bring
years.
That's been
back
for a
the-
long
He did. Brendan Urie tried.
He failed.
He did fail.
Terribly.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Weekend song?
Yeah. There's one with a bass line where it's like boom, 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 boom. I don't know what the song's called. I think it's like
Okay, go off, King.
that's it. That's all I know. It's like
He had his first single, High for This, there was a downpour remix that was like proto dubstep in like 2011,
Oh, I never liked
2012. But it wasn't though, and it was really funny too because that was like somebody put that song in a skating edit in like 2012, and it made back then. It was much more it was basically R&B, right? It didn't actually seem to fit as
Right.
skating music, but it worked really, really
Yeah,
well.
it's funny.
And people wouldn't you would have never been able to predict the level of celebrity he would end up becoming in 2012. That was over a decade.
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Like that he would go on to reach the heights that he reached.
It's
Him being
weird.
number 1 on Spotify is just like so funny to me that Michael Jackson is second because he has tried so hard to just copy Michael Jackson and then sounds like Michael Jackson if someone were like tearing Michael Jackson's fingernails off. Like he sounds like he's in pain.
Yeah.
Not that none of his music
don't
is
like The
good.
Weeknd?
Some of his songs are good. I'm just saying like he's tried way too hard to copy Michael Jackson
Hills
to then
is good.
exceed him.
The Hills.
The Hills. Devil May Cry was really good, but then it got used for like
Wait, so Michael Jackson's number 2 on Spotify?
Isn't that what you
That
said?
was- yeah, it was-
Second
he's
on
not
the
even
list?
alive.
like second to my but it doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying, like, I guess, the fact that Michael Jackson is
Doesn't seem right.
right below The Weeknd.
Doesn't seem right, does it?
No.
Devil May Cry was a really good Weekend song, but then they used it in like a Hunger Games soundtrack, so it soured me on the.
Oh, because you just hate Hunger Games for no reason,
Yes.
even though you've never watched it.
I will never watch them.
You haven't watched Hunger Games?
I've never seen a
You're
Hunger
too
Games
cool.
movie.
Would you read the books?
No.
I watched
Which
the
would
movie.
you rather, watch the movie or read the books?
I would rather they remake the Dresden Files.
No, but that's not one of the two options. I
If
gave
Brett
you.
watches all of the Hunger Games movies, will Hannah Claire finish the Fast and Furious movies?
I'm not getting dragged into
getting
her
so
her not
crushable.
finishing this.
Come on, I
can't
need some
offer her a way
motivation.
out.
Oh,
You can
Someone
do it.
needs to suffer with you.
Yeah.
Corn
It's just not
Pop
fun.
sent an angry emoji. I don't
Well,
know
why
why
are you
you're
angry, my friend?
But sorry. High Voltage 75 said, I have this friend named Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo.
Okay.
Okay. Corn Pop sent us the 100 emoji.
All right.
Thanks, Corn Pop.
And I've got
Thanks, Corn Pop, for your input.
I've got one more story to share with you guys before we go.
Okay.
This is going to be a bit of a hard one to swallow. Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton.
Oh,
This is kind of political. Like these last two topics, we should have spread these out. They went to a Broadway show and somebody pooped their pants.
What?
There you go.
what?
Is this like confirmed, or is this Joe Biden pooped himself at the Vatican type story?
That's even funnier. It says the
that
former
not
First
confirmed?
Lady and First Kid attended a production of Some Like It Hot in the Big Apple, and according to Page Six, staffers claim there was crap found within eye shot at intermission.
Within eye
it
shot.
sounds like it was in the same aisle which they were sitting.
They saw Hillary and
It
Chelsea
sounds
Clinton
like
sitting
that.
there, and they were like, "I'm going to ruin their experience of this."
That's
show.
incredible. That's incredible. If
You
so.
have to kind of applaud the dedication there. They saw these women, and they just hate the Clinton crime family so much.
It says they're unclear whether either of them noticed, but Page Six says they stuck around for the second act and that the doo-doo was cleaned up by the staff. So
What?
sucks to be that staff member who had to clean that up.
Oh, man.
I think that they probably noticed.
Maybe it was Bill.
There's no way you don't notice.
Maybe it was Bill.
Man, New York City's going downhill. Am I right?
Real
Is there,
fast.
like,
On the street
cameras
and
there?
inside.
Is there a way they can find get to
I'm
the
with
bottom
Ellen
of this?
Thompson. Did anybody check to see if Amber Heard was in attendance?
That's true.
Ellen, you are so right today. You are so right. Who?
No, it was Amber Heard's dog. It was planted by Amber Heard's dog.
Perfect.
Oh.
That's what it could have been. That is gross, ladies and gentlemen. That is gross. It was definitely Amber, though. All right, Carter, my friend, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me everywhere at Carter Banks. We got a new song coming out.
Yes, tell everyone about it.
It is the first song that, when I first got here, was playing through all the songs with Tim and Ian, and I was like, this is the one. We need to do this one. Been like a year and a half in the making. It's finally coming out. It's
What do you
called
like
Bright
about
Eyes. I don't know. I like
Go on.
that'll be a separate video that maybe I'll make or something like that. But yeah, you can find it. Go to trashhouserecords.com, and then you'll be redirected to a pre-order link. Please pre-order it. It comes out on the 24th. And yeah, more to come.
You hinted that you were going to start making
I did.
YouTube videos.
I've been making polls.
Did you do that?
I haven't
are you
started
still
yet, but
thinking about it?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I just don't know what to start.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
see.
people would like if you like reviewed music or
Yeah,
anything
I was
like
thinking that playthroughs,
Cool.
reaction to covers and stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
Did you let everyone know what social media they can follow you on?
you can follow me on Instagram at CarterBanks4L. Everything else is just at CarterBanks.
Is there a reason to pre-order a song?
Yeah,
Somebody
so
asked the
that's
question. I know
actually a great question. Thanks
there's a
for
reason,
asking.
right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can. It counts towards Billboard charts up to I think 6 months before. So our first week sales are the most important. That starts like Thursday, I guess technically Friday morning. If you pre-order it, we're trying to get as many song buys as we can in order to affect our chart ranking and get us up there above Taylor Swift again, which would be sick.
Hard to do when somebody's as tall as Taylor Swift.
It is. It's nearly impossible, but with your
Have
help,
you
we
seen
can
those
do it.
legs?
Right. And so it's very important that we get that song to as many people as we can via iTunes and Amazon. So yeah.
Busta Cap says Carter Banks reacts to mumble rappers. Would you do that?
Sure.
Let's
Send me
go.
mumble rappers on Twitter.
All right. All
Let me know
right.
where to start.
Hannah Claire, let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on timcast.com. Click on the read tab. You can see my work. I'm working on some anti-feminist profiles because it is Women's History Month after all.
We're very contradictory here at timcast.com.
I just feel like they should get their time in the sun too. You know what I mean? You should follow at Timcast News on Twitter and Instagram. Again, you can see all the work from me and all of our other journalists, especially with, whatever's going on. Some live coverage. We have some reporters shooting stuff on the ground. It's really cool stuff. You can follow me personally on Twitter at HC Brimlow, and you can follow me on Instagram, HannahClaire.b. Don't follow any others. They give out terrible crypto advice.
Not .bb.
Yeah, and Instagram won't take it down. Like,
Yeah.
I've been reporting it regularly.
Unlike you, the real you, who gives out amazing crypto advice.
No,
always.
that's the difference. I don't give any crypto
I was
advice.
saying, can you tell me what the actual crypto advice is?
I will not. But like this,
It's like buy high, sell low.
someone I know who reported it was like, Instagram sent them a message and was like, yeah, we've gotten a lot of reports on this account, so we haven't had time to look at yours and we haven't done anything.
Great.
Well,
Wait,
thank
what's
you for
going
this
on?
ridiculous
Awesome.
update. There's a account that like copied all of my pictures, all of my captions, and is like pretending to be me, but then it'll message you and be like, "Hello, dear, how are you?"
Oh my
anyway,
God.
Here's some crypto advice.
That's creepy.
It's terrible. I
Well,
hate
thanks,
it.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. So again, I'm HannahClaire.b on Instagram, and if you see a different account, just ignore it. Don't take its advice. And yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived and send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. Join me in trying to convince Elon Musk that he should just come on Pop Culture Crisis as a guest for the lulz, as Brett put it.
Yes, we need him. I feel like if we could catch him in the right mood, we could
Yeah.
get him out here.
If we really band together and put all of our efforts together, I think that we can do it, folks. Help me out there. And we have one more super chat from Joel D. Valdez. He said, "Thank you for being amazing, Ghost Girl." You're welcome.
Guys, I want to thank you all again for joining us today, and for all of you that join us every day, thank you so much. I don't say this enough. I said a lot in the beginning that I love this job, and it means a lot that you guys all come in and join us on this show. So please like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow all of us on social media. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasvik on both platforms. The show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you would like to follow Pop Culture Crisis on social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.